Well, welcome. We're live again for the Monday night hangout, and I'm sitting off camera right this second, but I'll get up and we'll get over there. As you can see, I haven't cleaned anything up. Let me raise this up. I got to go up here. If you check out Will Davis's channel, he has me flying, which is a rare sight because nobody ever takes video of me, but he did. That was my fourth flight of the year. Wasn't great, but it wasn't bad. I mean, 520, whatever. I got the chem leads here. I think Dan is going to come on tonight, which is a good thing. I'm going to clean this mess up and pour a little silicone. And believe it or not, I still haven't got the trailer unloaded. That drive just wore me out. Wore me out. But the only thing modeling I did is I put a new another engine together. Brian Gardner liner, and it's the tightest thing I've ever seen. I'm not sure it's right. It is tight. I think a few runs it'll be all right. Let's listen to the squeak on this one. Well, we'll get her running. Even if I have to start it with electric starter, put it through a few heat cycles, it should be all right. Okay. I want to pour that silicone tonight, so I need to go in and adjust the YouTube settings, I think. Unless everybody's lost interest in this. From what I understand, Dan and I are going to go to the nets. I'm not going to fly. I'll fly classic, but we're just going to film. I know I was supposed to cover Brodax, but I had some real issues with the phone I had. It would not, I mean, the battery would just get killed for some reason. I don't know what I've done wrong with it. So I give you what I could. Got some ball links here. Set of wheels. We got the moon wheels. This is 3 layers. I think we're going to make that out of 3 layers. Had a great time at Brodex. Really great.
Yeah, that's good.
Hey, Gary. We should have some more people come in here shortly.
Yeah, I figure. Yeah. Yeah, that was nice. You took time to fly. I was glad of that.
You didn't get to go, though.
No, I know.
Yeah, that flight that I flew that was on video is my 4th flight of the year. I might could fly good if I flew more than 4 times a year.
Yeah, I think so. I think you do great.
Gonna see about they went out flying today, but there was no way I was going out today. I've been out in the field for a week and I got shit to do. Carl, you gotta mute your mic. You're buzzing and crackling.
I think, Carl, you might have your mic up too high. I reduced mine and now I don't have, I don't.
All right, let me see what I can do here, guys.
Yeah,
Because I used,
you may not be able to hear it, but it's terrible on this end.
yeah, I was real sensitive there for a while and I got turned mine down a little bit. So I think that helps me out.
Okay, how's that?
Better.
Better.
Okay,
Got a little bit of a buzz, but
good. I can turn it down more. See, I thought it was my table. It's one of those plastic type tables you buy at Home Depot. So I put a tablecloth on it or a cover of some sort.
Mhm. But I think your mic was so sensitive and up so high, it just picked up everything. Just,
Yeah,
you just rub your finger across the table and you could hear it.
yeah. Okay, how's that now?
Fine.
Okay, and then
At least when you shovel at the table there, I don't hear anything.
see, how is it now? Is it still okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, good.
We got somebody coming in. I don't know who it is.
And turn up just a tad bit.
Oh, it's JT Composites.
Yeah. Yeah, I finally got it hooked up. Finally got logged in. Good grief. I had to download Zoom. This is a computer I hadn't I didn't have Zoom downloaded. I'm going to be chatting. I'm going to lay up a couple pods here.
Well, I'm going to pour some silicone in my pod.
So you put silicone in there today?
No, I'm going to do it tonight, right now.
Okay.
You know how I measure the volume?
How?
Fill up a beaker of water and pour it in there until it's full. Then pour it out and see how much it is.
I thought when you measure the volume, it's like how long or how loud are you going to yell?
Oh, yeah. Depends on if I spill the crap all over the place.
How you doing, Gary?
Pretty good.
And Carl Reed, how you doing?
Fine, thank you. How about yourself?
I'm doing good.
Good. Did you have a good day today?
Yeah, I got a lot done in the shop. Hey, Sparky, I'm not sure if my mic is on the camera or the computer.
Well, all you got to do is tap on the camera and we'll tell you if we can hear it.
Can you hear me better over here?
Yes.
Okay, it's on the camera.
Let me tell you what Joe told me about propellers, and I think I'm going to try it. He said that my airplane needs go a little faster, but in order to go a little faster and keep the same engine speed, I'm going to cut a 1/4 inch off the tips. What do you think?
What kind of airplane you talking about, Sparky?
My Viper.
Oh. Oh,
So
heck, I don't know.
it would be 12.5 instead of 13.
Yeah. The only problem is when you cut it off, how do you get it back on if it's too much?
You don't. You use it as a paint stick and throw it out. But I have more than one, so
Yeah. That'll work.
I did build this engine today. I put the ABC liner in it. I already showed the guys how it squeaks. It's tight. You hear it?
Now, when you put a liner in, that does make your piston a little smaller, right?
No, these pistons and liners are hand fit, and
Okay.
they have a
But-
pinch at the top. There's a taper. I don't know the exact measurement, but there's a taper, and at the bottom they're loose, and at the top where the pinch is, they get tight. Do I think it's going to be fine. I mean, once I get it started and heat cycle a few times. I ended up getting 2 Tom Lay 60s. And I got that 60 and a Rojet 65 side exhaust and a Super Tiger 46 and an X15 Super Tiger for my Perky, which I'm not going to run. I'm just end up selling it. I got that from the dock. Bernie Trent gave me these motors, these two. And they're in good shape. Tom Lay. So we could build some more airplanes. I got see, I got a Tempest kit and 2 other kits. A Tempest kit and a Skylark kit. Ed Southwick Skylark. And I don't know, some other classic airplane. So we got some ammunition. We got some stuff we can build with. Danny finished up my Perky molds, and they're beautiful. So we'll have Perky airplanes here shortly. And I think the channel's kind of burnt out on me doing molding. So we're going to end up cleaning this crap up and doing some woodwork.
Yeah, that composite stuff, it's I've noticed when I do composite work, I get a couple people that chime in that are just interested in composites, believe it or not. I think, I forget the guy's name, but it's Matney. He used to be Matney Models up in Michigan, but he made the Quickie 500 kits or something. So I've gotten a few select people that were interested in composites, but it's not a big draw. I do know from experience, if you want to get into a lot of frustration, and Sparky can attest to this, get into composites. It's
Mhm.
it can be very frustrating.
So many
Yeah, I
little
mean-
things can go wrong.
I made five
Yeah.
wing molds before I got a successful part out of it.
Yeah.
I made
Yeah.
3 elevator stabilizer molds before I got a successful part out of it, and didn't even use them. Ended up doing it a different way.
Yeah.
Just little things that just kind of bug you, get
And this is
some.
the second set of fuselage molds, and Danny made these, so he's really the master at this, not me.
No, I wouldn't say I'm the master, but let's just put it this way. I probably made enough mistakes to get me out of trouble.
I'm not going to be able to pour any silicone. I'm going to have to make a frame for these plugs to these molds to hold them level so I can pour liquid in them.
You know what I did, Sparky? I set the molds on styrofoam blocks or something.
Yeah.
So the mold that's got the flange, just take 2 strips or 2 2x4s or something and set it up on the blocks on each side to support it.
I was looking at this. Is there a reason why? I mean, they match perfectly. Is there a reason why the flanges are cut in a goofy, unsymmetrical shape? You do that on
Yeah,
purpose?
I freehanded them through a bandsaw.
You put them together, or they were together when you did it, right?
That's correct.
Yeah, they match perfect. I thought, well, maybe
Yeah.
he's doing that as a keying system.
Well, it does. So when you actually take that the mold halves and they match on the outside, it'll match on the inside.
Right.
But if you drill the flange to put some bolts in it, you probably want to jam that plug back in there and then close the mold, drill your flange holes, and then from there.
So you're thinking these things get glued together, but they don't.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying if you ever did go that route.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know you're gonna actually do it different, but just a little FYI.
And these things bolt together, and they'll have a built-up piece of wood, or I'm not sure. I put 2 coats of wax on this today. That's enough, right?
Yeah, I had 2 or 3 on there. Yeah.
I don't have to. I'm not going to PVA it for the silicone. The silicone will come right out.
Correct. You just got to put the silicone against the mold. I mean, the PVA against the mold.
When I put glass in there, or
Yeah.
carbon. Yeah.
Yeah.
That PVA makes things sticky. But you think I'll be able to use Chemlease after we cycle these a few times, huh?
Yeah, if you heat cure it. If you'd ever want to make a bunch of stuff fast, that way you could cycle the mold quicker.
Well, I don't really think there's going to be a huge call for
Perkies.
Perkies. Like I said, I think there's 10 guys in the country that fly this event.
Well, Like you said, though, it's a good little test piece.
I see what you mean. The datum line is off the center line of this thing.
Yeah.
I figured what I'd do with this engine is bolt it to a triangle. You know, glue it on the bench, glue the triangle on the bench, and put the spinner on it and fit the plug to it and keep it all level with my height gauge, you know? So
Yeah.
the thrust line is straight. But I'm not sure if that really would even matter with this thing. It's so tiny. Well, come on, guys. Not everybody talk at once. Here, Carl.
Yo, no, I was just watching you.
Clean the mess up. I don't know where to start. There's so much shit in here. It's like Dan's garage was. How long did it take you to clean up, Dan?
Took me about a week.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was hauling stuff out of here for like 2 or 3 days. But then it took me a week to build the bench. So to get where I'm at, heck, it probably took me 2 or 3 weeks.
That bench he's working on is on casters. He can roll it right out in the driveway. Kind of cool.
Yeah, that would be good.
I probably won't do that very often, but
I was going to send you a picture today of my Cheeto. It's they're twins, I think.
oh, really?
Yeah.
I had an orange tabby before this one, but this one's got darker orange eyes, but everything else looks about the same.
Orange cats are kind of laid back.
He had a pretty big day today. He's tuckered out over here.
Chris asked, I told a story about Cheeto and I said, he just moved in from next storage. Well, where does he sleep? I said, on the lawnmower.
Yep.
Does he have a
I
bed?
made
He got a towel.
I got a couple moving blankets. If he gets too hot there, he goes up to the seat. He lays in the seat. He's a great cat. Heck, he doesn't bother anything. He uses a litter box. He doesn't scratch anything up. I mean, he's an excellent cat. And he's really too lazy to catch anything. He'll just sit there and look at chipmunks, But
He sure wanted out at 4 o'clock in the morning.
yeah, he probably thought, who in the heck is this guy over here in the shop? I've never seen him before.
Yeah.
Somebody new. Yeah. His name was Tom. My wife just calls him Cheeto because he's orange.
so who does your cat favor, you or your wife?
I think he really likes my wife.
Yeah.
She pulled up from work and he walked out of the garage to greet her. He was happy to see her.
Yeah. We have a gray cat that we rescued, and she'll come to me every now and then, but my wife is her favorite.
Yeah.
She follows her all over the house. I mean, follows her to the bathroom. She gotta go use the bathroom. Sits there and waits for her when the door's closed. It's kind of
Oh,
funny.
I know. Yeah, they usually favor one or the other. Hey, Sparky, this 177 cloth from Wix, it's sort of really heavy on one direction.
Yeah.
Pretty neat. Sort of bi-directional. I just
Well,
noticed it.
it's not a 2-2-1-1 weave, it's a 1-1 weave. It's a square.
Yeah. I've never used this stuff before. Every time I make one of these pods, I try a different fiberglass.
We'll make it out of carbon.
Too expensive. I can't afford that.
Yeah.
Hey, the other thing, well, if you guys fly RC, you'll probably know this, but can't have carbon inside of a fuselage with your radio behind it. Carbon will interfere with your radio.
Really?
Yeah, that's why these guys that if it's a carbon airplane, they got to get the antenna outside of it. I'm not sure the details on it, but I do know that's the case. And I've seen some guys do half the fuselage out of carbon, half out of glass. They'll put the radio where the glass is. With this method here, what I'm doing is just laying this glass in this mold. That's just I don't want to. Just an old way of doing it, you know.
So what
Nothing
is
high
it you
tech.
put? So what is it you're putting on the glass?
It's West Systems 105 with a slow hardener.
Okay.
It's just boat resin.
All right.
I got it at West Marine, which doesn't have anything to do with West Systems, but
Yeah.
this stuff was developed in 1968 or something like that. So the technology is ancient, but it's still relevant. They got better epoxies out there, but this stuff is relatively inexpensive. But the thing about West System is you don't have to measure it. As far as the ratio, you got a pump and you just take 1 squirt of this and 1 squirt of that and you're done. Mix it up. That's what I like about it. It's just quick and easy.
Easier
Well,
to work with. Yeah.
I get credit over at Wix. I should just get me a gallon of that for what I got left on my balance over there.
Yeah. Well, I will say if I was making a landing gear or a bell crank or something structural, I probably wouldn't use this. But if you're doing like low temp wheel pant molds or stuff that's really not temperature critical, I think you're just fine with it. There was a guy in the RC club, he's still out here, but he was making Bob Violet fuselage parts and all kinds of RC stuff out of it and never had a bit of problem. So yeah, I know you could you know, do that with it.
If I'm gonna mold them monocoque wings, what is that gray shit you got in the box down there to stiffen these molds up? What's it called?
Let me think here. Where's it at? What are you talking about?
You used it on this mold, didn't you? Use some it's putty-like stuff.
That's a DTO81 mixed in with the HTR 250.
DTO81. And where do you get that? You get that at Resin Services?
No, I got it out of Freeman Manufacturing, but they don't make it anymore.
Okay, so what is the alternative?
Yeah, they got one, but I can't remember the number on it. They've got a product that replaced it. Now, you can buy tooling dough in the gallon kits that's pre-mixed. So in other words, it's got the resin and everything in it. It's just like dough. You take 2 balls of dough and you mix it together and you're finished. And that's your tooling dough. So basically with DTO 81, I'm making my own tooling dough.
Yeah.
But
And that's on this. You got free coat on it first, and then glass, then tooling, DTO 81, and then more glass, right?
yeah, I just edited a video today, and it's the one I just put up on the YouTube. It's only like 13 minutes because I cut out all the boring stuff. Well, it's all boring, but I cut out most of the stuff that, sort of draggy. And it shows me laying it up. But after I posted the video, I thought, man, it wasn't it didn't explain a lot. I should have told everybody that there's PVA on the plug.
Yeah.
But all the perky stuff is I put up on a YouTube video. You can watch me build the plug and everything.
Well, I don't think I need to know how to do that.
Yeah, you know how to sand.
What's up, Doran?
Hey, how you doing?
Good.
Hey, Dorn,
Oh,
how you doing? I haven't heard from you in a while.
well, I had some family issues. My mom passed away,
Oh, yeah.
all kinds of stuff happening. So that's that.
I'm sorry. Sorry to hear that,
Yeah.
Dorn.
Not yeah, it's better this way. I mean, she was not doing very well. She was in a lot of pain, and sometimes you wish, you know, the
Yeah, that's
anyways.
tough.
Yeah. I went to Romania, beat them up again. So that was it. Changed the batteries that I use on my plane.
Yeah.
I made my own battery packs now, and they're about how much are they? 4 times 6. Yeah, it's about $26 a pack for a 6S.
Oh, that's not
That's the
bad.
18650s.
Yep.
Do you
Yep.
get them from the 18650 store?
Yeah, something like that. One of those battery stores. When I got mine, they were on sale for $3.55 a piece or something like that.
They look like this. Mollicel.
Yep, that's the one.
That's cool.
And so yeah. Um, I was worried about it, but I'm not worried no more. So it's working quite well.
That's good.
Yeah. I know I
There's
have
Phil
like
Bailey. Did you get them skins made, Phil?
what?
No,
Did you get them P47 skins made? Got them wrapped up?
no. Came home, got everything unloaded and managed to wreck the car.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, we went over to High Point to go to the movies Saturday. Wanted to take Vicky out to dinner and a movie and take my grandson was going to meet us. And my little girl decided that she would run a stop sign and run out in front of us. And we hit her in the broadside, flipped her over on her side. And she hit a brand new Mercedes Benz, and I mean a big one.
Oh,
So
jeez.
we're bruised. Both of us are very sore and bruised up, but we're all right. The little car did its job. That little thing. Uh-oh. I don't know what that's all about now. I got to figure out. Y'all still there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who-
Yeah.
Okay, I'll have to find you. This thing is okay. There you are. The car turned on the brakes lock. I had my feet on the floor, but once we hit the car, the brakes went full on, the lights started flashing and the horn tooting SOS. It automatically called the police, the fire, and and an ambulance. I mean, the cops were there almost before I got out of the car. And then oh, it was crazy. The little car is totaled, but I'm gonna look for nothing just like it. I'm telling you, I love that little car. That thing was so,
How's the girl that ran the stop sign?
she's all right. She
Yeah.
had a baby in the car. She's not too bright. She had a baby in the car, and it knocked her on her side. Now she's on the side and slid. She's flying apparently because she went about 60 or 70 feet after we hit her on her side and then hit a Mercedes. But she would not let the baby go to the hospital. I don't know what that was all about.
Hmm.
It was strange. I couldn't understand what was going on. But anyway, we got through it. We're bruised up. Like I say, we're both bruised up. Vicky much more than me. I had a chance to brace and grab the steering wheel, but my titanium glasses, it broke the airbag broke the glasses. Let me tell you a little secret. If anybody ever tells you that an airbag does not hurt when it deploys, you tell them I said, yeah, right.
You know, titanium's brittle. It's not because it's not malleable. It's brittle.
Well, these you could tie in a knot and they would pop back to the original shape.
Yeah.
And it broke, and I mean it broke them.
It's probably not titanium, man. It's a what's called
Memory.
it's a memory spring wire. What the hell is that made out of?
I don't know, but anyway,
Yeah.
it destroyed them. And then well, that was about it. But Vicky is by far hurt worse than me. She's just purple.
Yeah.
She's
Wow.
massively bruised. I'm going to the doctor in the morning. She can't get a doctor's appointment until next Monday. I'm gonna take her with me and see if my doctor will take a look at her anyway.
Mhm.
We spent Saturday in the hospital.
Mm.
I've been CT'd and X-rayed and everything else, but I don't know. I thought my shoulder and neck hurt before. Boy, I didn't know nothing.
I see you made it back, Ed.
Yeah, I sure did. Good seeing you.
You too.
Good to
Thank
see
you.
you, Ed.
Yeah, Phil. Sorry to hear that, Phil.
Yeah.
Also, I heard what you were saying. Sorry for your loss.
Yeah. Thank you. Appreciate that.
What happened to Tran? What happened?
We're all here.
Oh, my mom passed away.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. Sorry.
It's not a very good year for me. So that's that.
No, I understand.
Yep.
I understand. Yeah.
Did you fly, Ed, or what?
Oh no, I was hoping to, but no. My ankle is still gives me fits. I start off the day pretty good, but once it gets about halfway through the day, the swelling and it gets pretty painful and not stable on your feet.
You look pretty swelled up and kind of moving slow. I didn't know.
Yeah. But that's okay. I mean, it is getting better, but they said a year to a year and a half. So
Ouch.
I'll probably attempt this weekend. And if I have to, I'll take my spin
Little
around
note
chair.
on that titanium, talking about Doran. Steve Starr was a welder at Rolls-Royce. He was a flyer. He lives out here by me. He made a control horn out of titanium. He welded it, and he brought me a 1/8-inch rod sample. So I started messing around with that stuff, and I tried to bend it, and you can't bend it. Really, I mean, it just can't really bend it. So anyway, I heated it up cherry red, put it in a vise, and I bent it with a pair of pliers like it was warm spaghetti. Went around the prettiest 90-degree bend you ever saw. And then once it cools, it's set and it holds the bend. But it doesn't anneal or it doesn't case harden or anything. It just goes right back to where it was as far as the properties. So it's a neat metal.
It'll gum up your machines.
Yeah. I know it takes a special feed and speed and everything to do that.
You know, I still have them. I have a couple strips of titanium that are 1/2 inch wide, eighth inch thick. And I gave them to John. I said, John, I want to mill these down to 3/8. So he did it for me, but he said he'd never do it again. You know, it screwed up his milling stuff. Of course, he
Yeah.
had cheap, you know, Harbor Freight shit, but
Yeah. Yeah, it takes a special tool. You know, the price of tooling for a CNC machine is no joke. Guys at the machine shop told me once, he said if the machine is 300,000, you go through 4 or 5 times of that
In tooling.
in tooling or more. It's like,
In my
I guess,
work, I have a $2 million machine.
yeah. Does that sound about right, Doran?
Sounds about right, yeah. I mean, just an end mill is gonna drop back about $75,
Yeah.
you know.
I think
Unless
with the
it's a
Titans
really,
of
really tiny one.
CNC, have Dan, you watch
What?
that channel, right? Titans of CNC.
Yeah.
Yeah, think of how much money that stuff cost in his shop. Millions.
You know, hey, Sparky,
Yeah,
I need to go down there. I need to go down there and get a job for a while.
yeah, yeah.
So how are you cutting that cloth over there? 0.90?
Well, basically this cloth, Doran, is it's almost unidirectional. It's got a small thread one way and a bunch the other. And
I
what I'm
see.
going to do is 2 layers. It'll be 0.90.
Uh-huh.
I opened it up on the bag. I never really paid any attention until I started laying it up. I'll tell you what, it goes really nice one direction.
Yep. If you have balanced cloth, the more curvature you have, the more you want to go like a bias 45 degrees.
Yeah,
It's gonna lay everywhere, and then you can
Yeah.
reinforce it with some unidirectional if you need the other direction.
right.
Actually, the bias direction has more hoop strength,
Okay,
so it's gonna hold the roundness, the shape.
correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like they got you into yacht racing there, Dan.
Got me into what?
Yacht racing.
Yeah.
What's
Yeah.
that thing you're making now?
This is a pod. It's I call it a pod, but it's an RC pod. It's a concept where
Show it to him.
okay, hold on a second.
He's got one done.
Yeah. As you see, it's not high tech for an RC plane. This is there's a pod. See
Turn it
that?
sideways.
Okay.
There you go.
So yeah, it's just it's something to put the servos in, attach the wing to, you know.
Yeah.
Holds the landing gear.
Yeah.
It's like almost like oh yeah, nice. Nice.
You can put the wings midway in the thing like our stunt planes, or you can build a pylon and put them high wing, and you put a arrow shaft out the back for the elevator stabilizer.
Yeah.
I
So
see.
it's sort of a concept thing, you know, like Sparky's Perky, you know. He
Yeah.
chose the right size to play around with because you know, you start
Yeah.
messing with something too big, you start wasting a lot of material if you screw up. But
Yeah.
these are just test beds for certain things. Now, when I worked at JT, I showed them I think the pod mold. And they told me how to make the mold to where it go in an autoclave. Not that it requires an autoclave, but I'm gonna make another mold. This is basically room temp mold, but I'll make another one and post cure it. And I'll take it to them to see if I can get the properties that'll withstand an autoclave.
What do you need the autoclave for?
An autoclave is an oven combined with a pressure vessel that cures composites.
Oh no, I know that. I know that. But the question was, why do you need an autoclave?
You don't. But I want to know how to make the mold to withstand it.
Okay. So it's just like a vacuum bagging mold. That's the same thing.
Well, sort of.
Autoclave
So
just adds the heat, right?
Nope. Okay, here's how an autoclave supposedly works. An autoclave, well, let's just say if you vacuum bag at what, 25, 28 inches of mercury,
Uh-huh.
you're going to have roughly 17 psi pushing down on that bag. Okay, 17 psi. If you put it in an autoclave and you pressurize the outside of that bag, it goes to 100 psi.
Oh, so you also change the atmosphere inside of the autoclave. That
Correct.
makes sense.
Okay, so what you do, you ramp up the cure, and as soon as the resin becomes fluid, under vacuum, you slowly inch up on the pressure, and then the pressure gives you more compaction, up to 100 psi.
Mhm.
Kind of bonds the layers together.
Unbelievable. Yeah, 100 psi or 80 or whatever you want to run it at. So the other thing that happens inside the bag, and you'll know this, Dorn, if you pull a vacuum and there's air bubble in the bag, the air bubble expands. And when the air bubble expands, hopefully it makes it to the bleeder cloth, right? So the autoclave, once the bubble expands, let's just say it didn't make it to the bleeder cloth, under 100 psi, the bubble shrinks.
So you have smaller bubbles, in other words.
Either smaller or it forces them out even more so. Yeah, so there's a big difference in the properties of your part.
Yeah.
But the problem with it is the cost. Autoclaves are super
Oh my
expensive
God.
to run.
Yeah, they're very expensive.
But you were on the right track with your plane when you said, you're just going with the hand layup and the vacuum bag. And that's fine. You can get some really good properties if you pay attention to what you're doing.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's just so it depends on what you lay up in there.
Yeah.
Look at the guys that makes the discus launch gliders. They take
Yeah.
a whole lot of pressure and they weigh nothing.
Yeah.
So all they are, if they have a raw cell, solid core inside of them, there's no hollowing, no nothing, and just
Yeah.
put one layer of carbon fiber on the top, one on the bottom, maybe a spar here and there, and then compression mold it. Just want to
That's it.
close the mold. The core it's a little bit oversized, so when it close the more, you compress it to the finished size. And you have a wing panel that's about was it 1.5 meters, 75 centimeters? How much is that?
about 3.2, 36, 48, about 5 foot by,
No, it's about 29 inches. It's close to 30 inches, right? So you
Oh.
have this 30-inch panel, which is the size of an elevator that has the hinge, the flaps, everything is built into it and weighs like 60 grams.
Yeah,
No, actually that's a lot. Actually, right now the 55 grams or so range, and you
Yeah.
make them in one shot. You can make an elevator, just a wing panel. You can lay it out in 30 minutes, and you're done.
Wow.
It's fast, man. It's just like all you do, just mix the epoxy. You just cut the material to size. Then you put the material. You take a roller, like a paint roller, and just put in an epoxy. Put a super thin layer on a mold itself. Then you get the carbon fiber and just to lay it down nicely inside there. You use the paint roller on the other side and kind of do it like that. Put some paper towels on top of it. Shove it in a vacuum bag and leave it there like for 30 seconds or so. Remove the paper towels, which pretty much take all the excess resin out of it. And now you put your solid cores in there. Um, then on the other side, you do the same thing with the paper towels and epoxy. Then you take the two molds together, bolt them together. That's it.
bring up my notes. I want to ask Mike Lonke if he's ever heard of this motor. Zalp. Lonke.
Like you
Heard
dropped
about-
out, Spark.
You ever hear of a Zalp? Well, that's Hudak. What's up, Hudak?
I never heard of one.
Yeah, Lonke will know it. It's some kind of combat motor.
Did
But
you
I'm
acquire
supposed-
one at Brodak?
What?
Did you acquire one at Brodak?
No. Bob Whiteley's wants to sell me, or Whitney or whatever wants to sell me one. And that's the motor that he's got on his record breaker. I was just wondering if Mike knows anything about him.
That thing of his absolutely screams.
Where's the Zelt made, Spark?
I don't know.
How's the project coming, Sparky?
Yeah, Dan's got my molds finished, so I can start building airplanes probably this week. These are the molds right here.
Nice, Sparky.
What'd you say?
I said they look nice.
That's Danny.
Well, that looks like a lot safer alternative than making them out of balsa wood.
Well, them perkies that I saw this weekend were pretty crude.
Pretty crude, but they're pretty
Yeah.
fast.
Yeah.
But when that one came
There's
apart,
Lonky, let me ask you. Mike Lonky.
Yeah, what's up?
You know anything about a Zalp motor?
Yeah, it's what I set the all-time record with
Right.
in Perky.
Yeah, Bob Whitney, right?
Correct.
So that's a good engine because Bob's going to sell me one.
Yeah, and if he worked on it, it'll be real good for sure. Yeah, they were real popular combat motors back in the day before the Forras came on the scene.
Well, they're telling me not to get a Fora.
That's
Bob-
fine. Yeah. I don't think you can hop a 4 up for Perky like you can a Zelp, you know?
Yeah. I never seen one before, and I looked at his, and just like I told these guys, them perky airplanes at Brodak's were rough. They were beat to shit.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll bet. Well, I didn't see anything that was knocking anybody's socks off either. They were only just over 100 miles an hour, I think, right? Maybe 108 or something.
107, I think, is what the winner was.
Yeah.
But how much nitro do they run? None?
You'd have to ask Bob on his. I don't know. I was just the handle monkey. I had nothing to do with the engine or the fuel or any of that.
Well, he said exactly what you said. The reason why he wanted you to fly it is because you're left-handed.
Yeah.
You can
Yep.
whip it.
Yep.
But they didn't go very fast at
Yeah.
Brodex. Now, if I remember right, they took some of these type looking perky airplanes and put Fox 35s in them, didn't they?
You got me.
I think Henry Nelson has one with a Fox 35 in it that he's hopped up, but I don't know what class that is.
Hey, a big congrats to Sam there.
Oh, thank you, Ed.
Over the
Yeah.
last week.
I'm pretty
Yeah.
proud of him, man.
Yeah, man.
Get in here, buddy.
Oh,
We just got back from Kansas City last night at 3:00 in the morning. We got in because the
A
contest.
first and a third, right?
Yes, yeah. He actually was flying as a junior, but he made the podium. He made top 3 out of he squeaked an adult off the podium by finishing as good as he did. So he flew his butt off. He had to fly 11 matches and 1 refly, and he was 8-3 for the contest. We thought he was done, after he was out in the 9th round, but there ended up being a 3-way tie for 3rd and 4th. So he had to fly off for 3rd. He had to fly off one guy to see who was 5th. The loser of that would have been 5th. And then the last 2 guys got to fly off for 3rd and 4th, and Sam won his match. So then he had to fly off for 3rd and 4th, and it was a tied match. So he had to fly the guy again. And this is, at the end of the day, Sunday, 5:00 in the afternoon. We've been out there since Thursday. We were all really, really tired. But he went out there and he won his match. So he got to the podium, took 3rd place, and then there was 2 other juniors at the contest, and he bested them pretty easily. And good prizes, some really cool trophies. They had some A-10 Warthogs on a plaque, with the date and all that. He got $200 cash and 2 brand new F-2D airplanes.
Wow.
Wow.
You guys would have really cleaned up at Brodex when I was watching combat. I don't know whether Hudak can attest to this, but I never saw one cut. I saw
Really?
one. Yeah, I saw one.
A couple of fly through.
Yeah, they go through the airplane, but I did not see one cut.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not. All I know is Columbo won it. I was on the phone with him. I know Ronnie from Detroit ended up winning it. Here's one of the planes Sam won. Pretty nice.
Probably the only one didn't crash into someone else's airplane.
Say again?
He's probably the only one that didn't crash into another airplane.
Oh no. He went pretty good most of the time until the last day. There was one gentleman.
Brodex. He's talking about Brodex.
Yeah,
Oh, he's talking
Brodex.
about Brodex. I'm sorry. We tore up a bunch yesterday. Not so much the first 2 days, but on the last day, anyone who's still in it is trying real hard to stay in it. It's a triple elimination contest. You fly until you lose 3 times. So Saturday afternoon, like half the field was gone, and then after the first round yesterday morning, another half was gone. It was down to 6 guys. Some with no losses, some with 1, some on the bubble with 2. So it moves pretty quick after that. But if you got 2 losses and you're on the bubble, you tend to fly a lot more aggressively because you want to stay in it. So the competition gets more fierce, and there's a lot more mid-airs, and you tear up more stuff.
Yeah, I got a couple guys in my club. They want me to try to join in on combat.
Do it.
I don't like crashing them airplanes that much, and they go out there with a dozen. Now I see why.
Yeah, we took 10 to this contest, and
Came back with 1 good one.
yeah, we got 1 good one. So
Come back with 1, huh?
yeah, but at Joe Knoll, I mean,
I only broke 1.
he only broke 1. We took 10 to Joe Knoll, and he only broke 1. So it just depends on how you're flying and how everybody else is flying. Some days you bring them all home, some days you don't bring any home, and it's fine. We didn't take our best stuff. We took good stuff, but not our best stuff. We just pulled all the motors off everything that we flew, and we are doing them. We picked up these airplanes from Bob Mears at Joe Knoll. We bought a half a dozen of these, and they actually have internal shutoffs on them.
Is he
So you
making
don't have
those
to-
or those Ukraine jobs?
These are actually Italian. These come out of
Italian?
Italy. A&A, yeah.
Uh-huh.
They're super nice. But we're getting Sam's airplanes ready for team trials and the Nats. We're having team trials this year, Friday, Saturday, Sunday before the Nats start. So we got to be there Thursday. And
Wow.
we got a little family thing going this week. So and we're going to be out of town. So we're taking our stuff with us to assemble it so we can come. Because when we come back from this trip, we got a test flight. We only got a week till the Nats. So we're going to be busy putting stuff together this week.
What are the dates of the stunt nats? Anybody know?
Yeah. Well, whatever the 4th is, it starts that Monday, you know.
The 4th is beginning of the month?
No. I'm sorry. Friday the 4th is team trials. 4th, 5th, and 6th. So your Nats will start on Monday, the 7th.
August 4th?
No.
July.
July 4th.
July.
Well, you're going to have some fireworks there, huh?
I've
No,
been there
actually,
before.
I'm skipping my fireworks show this year. I usually do a big show here in the neighborhood, about $2,500 worth of stuff, and we're skipping it this year because we have to be at Muncie for team trials. We got to be out there on Thursday the 2nd because we have a pilots meeting Friday morning, or I'm sorry, Thursday evening, and then we start team trials bright and early on Friday.
I was wondering why we didn't see you at Pro Deck. Now I see why.
Yeah, we had to be in KC this weekend. Sam needed the tune-up for the Nats.
Weather was nice at Pro Deck. Well, Sunday was a washout, and Monday started looking like a little bit of rain, but every day was pretty nice. A little wet in the morning. The winds died down by the middle of the week, Tuesday. I guess it was pretty good. Tuesday was a little windy with meatballs up in the air.
Yeah.
Hey, Danny, it is the 6th. So plan on the 6th to the 11th.
Talking to me, Sparky?
Yeah.
Okay.
6th.
Mike's talking about team trials. Is that team trials for combat or what?
Just
Yeah.
combat. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, we're smart. We have them at the Nats when just a couple days before the Nats when everybody's already going to be there anyway.
Right.
I mean, it's a completely separate contest. We're going to run a triple elimination contest for 2.5 days to select a team. And then we turn around on Monday and start all over again, another triple elimination contest for a national champion.
Okay.
We don't wait till September or October or November to do a team trial somewhere in the country when,
Yeah.
you know, all the combat guys that fly, they're always at the nationals. It's just smart to do it in the same place, you know.
Yeah, that makes sense.
They give us the site and they give us the site 2 days early, you know, 3 days early, and we get it done.
You flying in the grass off the L pad?
No. We have designated combat area. There's 2 FAI concrete center circles out there.
It's over by
Okay.
Classic, Danny.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, I got you.
Yeah. And yeah, we just get it done. Because we always have big turnout for team trials. I mean, there'll be 25 guys there for team trials.
Wow, that's pretty
Because
good.
they're already coming to Muncie anyway. So anyone who wants to go to the Worlds just shows up early, you know.
Yeah.
So I guess I'm going to be at your house the 5th, Dan.
Okay.
All right. Well, I'm going to mute out because we're going to start working here, making some noise. But good
All
to
right.
see everybody.
You
Yeah.
too.
And I'm still here. If you want me, just holler my name.
To see you, Mike.
That means I got to get on the stick. I gotta get a couple of these perkies done for the Nats.
Hey,
Not-
Sparky,
Not the
question
fly.
for you.
Yeah.
Question for you. Why don't you put any registering holes in your molds so you when you put them when you join them together they're gonna be
They don't get joined together. They don't get joined
Yeah.
together, Dorn. They're two-piece, but top and bottom, and they screw together. You can fly the airplane without the bottom on it. The bottom is a cowl, so to speak, and the top
So
is
use the top to, I got it. So use the top to mount everything on it and just screw the bottom on it and call it a day.
right.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. That makes sense. Yeah, I thought they were just like a one piece kind of fuselage and you put stuff inside of it.
No,
Yeah, okay.
so you can take the bottom off and work on the push rod or work on the landing gear, whatever you got to do.
You already got the wings figured out, didn't you, Sparky?
Yeah, wings and the elevator stabilizer. I was just waiting on. I built the fuselage mold, but I didn't do it right, and it had some catastrophic problems. So Dan figured out why it was having a problem. I had the parting line in the wrong spot. So now I have to engineer the thrust line separate from the parting line,
Ah,
but it should come apart.
well,
Yeah,
if
it should be
anybody
fine.
knows how to do that, Dan should.
Yeah.
Hey, Sparky, did you find out how much a perky wing built out of balsa wood weighs?
No, but I found out what the whole airplane should weigh.
Probably what?
23 ounces.
And what do you project yours would be in at?
Man, I hope 15 ounces, but I don't think so. I don't know. You got fixed weight, whatever the motor weighs, whatever the prop weighs, all the hardware.
Yeah.
And
What's the hardware?
what's that?
Hardware. How much is the hardware?
I don't know.
Okay.
I haven't made it yet. Bell crank, lead outs, tip weight. Shit, they run 1.5 ounces of tip weight.
You putting a carbon fiber tank in yours?
The whole top section, well, this top piece from about here, this will be made out of the EPON 862, fuel proof. And the top section here, 1 ounce worth, will be molded into the thing for the fuel tank. So I don't have to have that extra piece of brass. They made a brass tank in there.
That's pretty cool.
This is all concept, I don't know if it's going to work or not.
After
It's
seeing some of
Norm.
the balsa ones that worked very well, I'd say it's got a good chance of working.
Yeah, the balsa ones are crude, boy.
Well, they've been bouncing them on the ground for how many years?
No, they're built crude. They're made crude, the way that they're put together.
I'll tell you one thing, they're quick. Good
Scotch
grief.
tape holding the fuselage together, shit like that. That's ridiculous. We'll
Hey,
figure it out.
Doran. Hey, Doran.
Yes. What's up?
Going forward, are you going to build another composite airplane in the future, or what direction do you think you'd take?
If I was to make another one,
Yeah.
I would make it. I like the numbers I have right now. What I would do different, I would do a much easier build fuselage, like a Spitfire kind of style fuselage, which like a and elliptical wings, because that's gonna make you the life a lot easier
Yeah.
when you mold it, especially the wingtips. That's the tricky part. So if I was to make another one, it would be everything elliptical, but probably it's gonna look very much like this one. I'll still keep the dihedral in the elevator, keep the
Yeah.
elevator in the clean air, have a longer moment on the tail. I'll just keep that. I would keep um, the wing with a thinner airfoil. I would not go to a thicker airfoil. I'll probably even thin this out even more. So
Okay.
that's, if I was to make another one, that'll be the general direction.
Okay.
Yeah. And the build on the fuselage would be on the same build that I have in the wings right now, with the
Okay.
fiberglass foam, and carbon fiber foam and fiberglass on the inside. which is going to be a lighter structure, perhaps even stiffer.
We're
You know
getting
what I
ready to
thought
build
about
an
doing,
I-beam. We're getting ready to build an I-beam carbon fiber airplane. You know, with all the ribs in it.
Why would you do that? You don't need them.
Yeah, we want to do it. It looks cool.
Oh, if it looks cool, that's about it. Yeah. Yeah, but it's not as efficient as the other ones would be. Clean wing, a nice smooth wing. It would
Well,
not be as
then you don't have to put turbulators on it because they're built in with the ribs.
I don't have turbulenters on mine.
I know, but them other guys put them turbulators on their airplane.
Well, yeah, well, it's to fix mistakes, right?
Yeah.
They're usually a sign of something wrong in the design. But yeah, I would definitely make everything elliptical. Everything elliptical. I'll still keep the fuselage as is. Maybe just change the shape on the rudder and stuff like that. But the position of the pretty much everything would probably stay the same, except for the build. The build gonna be a lot easier with a um, with a like a Spitfire kind of looking nice flowing lines that are easy to mold
Right.
without sharp corners and tight turns and stuff like that. You want to stay away from that.
Yeah, as much as possible.
What?
He said as much as possible.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Hey, Dorn, do you use any core material?
Yes, I do. Everywhere.
You know what I thought about doing? I was talking on the Saturday hangout. If you take a mold like I've got here, okay,
Uh-huh.
whatever it might be, and then you take sheet wax and you line the mold with sheet wax to build up your thickness. So let's say you want a 1/32 or 3/32 core. So you build the sheet wax up to get that amount. Once you build the sheet wax in the female mold, then you smooth the sheet wax out, PVA it, and then you'd actually lay up another mold on top of the sheet wax. So basically, when the two molds came together, you'd have a gap, would be molded into the gap.
Mm-hmm.
You take 3/4 ounce, 1 ounce, or whatever, and put in the female mold of fiberglass cloth. You let it cure. Take the male mold and you coat that with a fiberglass, right?
Carl, you're buzzing.
Am I buzzing?
No, Carl was.
I was?
Now you're not.
So basically, you got a male and female mold with a gap between the two when they close. And you got fiberglass on both of them, and it's cured. You pour the foam in there, 4 pounds per cubic foot or 3 or whatever that expands. You close the mold and clamp it. When the foam's done curing, you pop it off and you're finished. What do you think?
Those foams are not exactly the best. And I haven't tried that yet. I think it's much simpler to get a let's say you want 3/32 thickness. Just use
Yeah.
3/32 foam, cut it with a hot wire at 3/32 thickness, and just put it in a mold and do it all in one shot with a vacuum bag, and you're done.
Do you think
I mean, it's
by
it's
doing
lighter.
that,
It's
do you
going to be
think
lighter. No, that foam is very heavy. First of all, the foam is heavy. It's not rigid enough. Um, yeah, it's going to give you some girth to it, right? Because it has the thickness, right? But I don't think it's the best way
Still
to
got to
do
get
it.
wires through it too.
you're probably better off just vacuum bagging a piece of foam inside your mold and use some heat source to form it to that shape.
Yeah, yeah,
And
that's been done.
then you pull it out and mold it normally.
Right.
And that's a lot easier, a lot better. You can also use another idea of if you have very tight curves, just
Yeah.
use 200 grams per square yard material in those areas, and maybe a layer of something light on 40 grams per square yard on the outside.
Okay.
And whatever you have, like even the mold that you're working on right now, right? If you look at it, most of it is kind of straightish, right? Except for the front area, right?
Well, it's
So
all
you
got a
can,
curve on it. There's no flat spots, but yeah, it's less curvy
it's
towards the
very,
back.
yeah, but it doesn't have a lot of curvature. So you can take a flat piece and easily put it inside there, right? Except for
Correct.
when you have tight curves. So you can apply the same technique, and where you have a lot of curves, just put a little patch of uh, thicker carbon and you're done. Uh, I mean, just those are ideas, I'm throwing ideas
Yeah.
at you, right? So you
Yeah.
might have a little piece of carbon on the back, a little bit of piece of carbon in the front, and everything else gonna be like a thin skin on the outside, the foam, and you can taper the foam in the front and the back, right?
Right.
So it comes to a razor edge, right? So now when you mold it, you don't have stress risers in there.
Yeah. I got you.
Yeah. So that's what I would do. And yeah, show me that mold a little bit. Yeah. Yeah, you see the last 2 inches and probably the front 1 inch, right? Yeah.
Right here is pretty flat.
Yeah, yeah.
Got a little
Let me
curve.
make
And
it big.
use that area, the whole area, put a piece of foam inside, and you're done.
Let me make it big, Dan. Let's see, spotlight. There we go.
You can easily put a piece of foam right there in the center section. Maybe
Yeah.
the last inch in the front where you have the cowl, where the
Yeah.
propeller would be, and the very back side. And the rest, put a thin layer on the outside, say 40 gram, 60 gram worth of carbon. Um, get it wet, put some paper towels on top of it, right, to dry it out. And then you put your foam, uh, put fiberglass on the foam, and vacuum bag it. You're done. That's it. Simple.
Yeah. The next one I try, I'll do that and see what I can get
That's
out of
going to
it.
be a lot stiffer, a lot lighter than what you do right now.
Yeah.
I guarantee you it's going to. So, yeah. I don't know what materials you have. I mean, what do you want to use? What do you have? Um, you can even use some thin fiberglass. I have some, I think it's 1.6 ounces per square yard balance cloth.
Yeah.
And I'll put that on the outside because it fills in all the nicks and crannies and little pinholes and stuff like that. It's dense enough, right?
Right.
And then probably put some 200 grams in the first 2 inches in the nose, the last 2 inches on the back. Then with 3M77, you put a layer on your foam and use a dry. You mix your epoxy with a roller that's super dry, right? You don't want a wet roller like you're painting the wall. If you roll the roller on a paper towel and see the resin coming off the roller, you're still too wet. Okay. So it's
Yeah.
relatively dry roller with epoxy, and you use the light as to bounce the light off of your fiberglass. So as you roll, you see the fiberglass changing color, right?
Right.
And that's how you keep very little material into the fiberglass. Otherwise, you're going to soak it in, and it goes everywhere. It's going to be a heavy piece. But if you do this technique, you're not going to have much resin in there. And throw it
Yeah.
in a vacuum bag and you're done. And next day, just trim the edges and you join the two halves, whatever.
Yeah. Now, one of the ways talked about making this thing at the shop, if you make this mold and it's open in the front and it's open in the back,
Okay.
you join the two halves together.
Mm-hmm.
You lay your pre-preg up in the mold, stick it down.
Yep.
You can have the pre-preg to where when it comes together, there's a little overlap.
Yes.
You know, you roll it down, you get it where it needs to be. You stick a vacuum bag right down the center of it.
Mm-hmm.
You bring the vacuum bag out past center, past the front. You turn it inside out and you roll it backwards.
Mm-hmm.
So then you tacky tape it back here, seal it, pull the vacuum.
Yep.
You're pulling a vacuum on the outside of the mold, but you're also pulling it on the inside of the mold.
Yes, and you're closing the seam and stuff like that. Same idea applies with the inflation bladder as well. You put a balloon
Correct.
inside of it and fill it up with air. You can put a lot of pressure on it.
Have you ever experimented with making your own bladders?
Yes.
Got any luck? Had any luck making your own
Yes.
bladders?
Yeah. Yeah, but you have to be careful with it. You have to make the bladder oversized for the mold. And
Yeah.
you have to have support on the bladder everywhere. Make sense?
Oh
You
yeah,
don't
because
have open. You want to push the bladder to the inside of the mold. You don't want the bladder to go in a hole or a window or something
Yeah.
like that, because
even on
it's
the
gonna pop.
ends, if the
Huh?
ends are open, you have to cap it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. And I think the inflation bladder is better.
Yeah.
So if you do it with the inflation bladder, then you don't care too much about how much resin you put in it, because the bladder is going to push the resin outside, if it makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Dorn, so when are you going to send me a PDF with all your information on sources for materials?
It's very old, man. Last time I bought materials years ago. But long story short, I buy the carbon fiber directly from the source.
Yeah.
CN models. The fiberglass somewhere in USA, they Tearcraft, they sell relatively inexpensive blemished fiberglass, which doesn't mean anything to me. You want style 106. You want balance cloth, and anyways.
Yeah. Now Thayer-Craft, I bought
you want to
stuff.
use balance cloth. You don't want to use unbalanced cloth, okay?
Yeah.
Unidirectional from Sweet Composites in UK.
Yeah.
And that's raw cell. That's the core I use. It's the best one you can use. If you don't have raw cell, if you want to go cheaper, use high load 60 Dow foam.
Okay.
All right. So it's a stiffer foam, right?
High low 60.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's relatively inexpensive, and but you have to cut it out with a hot wire in sheets, whatever you need.
Right.
Raw cell.
Expensive, I know that.
Raw cell or Airex. You can use them both, either one. But raw cell has more density, has more stability, and it's
Okay.
stiffer. And there's a company you want to use in bulk or something like that. Get from companies that. Oh, wait a second. What was that? Was in Thailand. It was in Thailand somewhere. I forgot the name of them. It's been such a long time.
I got a buddy, he's in the military. He's going to retire in Thailand. I need to keep in contact with him for cheap material.
Yeah.
Hey, Dan,
You might.
DTO82 aluminum trihydrate, is that the same as 081? It's used as a filler.
Yeah, I'd have to get a sample of it. I think that's what I found too. If you get on Freeman's website, they got a
Yeah, but
aluminum.
did you read the disclaimer? It's been
What is it?
it's been discontinued, and when the stock is gone, it's gone.
Yeah, my theory on the filler materials like DTO 81 is I think it was a byproduct of something else.
Filler for what?
Well, it causes cancer.
Filler
Yeah,
for what?
so Doran, what we were doing with DTO 81 was some kind of phenolic sand. It's hard to explain. I just posted a video. It's like 13 minutes long on a fuselage plug I made. It's edited, and it shows me using this stuff as a tooling dough. So, like Resin Services sells tooling dough. It's a 2-gallon kit or whatever. So it's dough and it's dough A and B, and you mix it, knead it together. With DTO 81, it's a filler and it's like sand. That's the only thing I could compare it to, like fine play sand. You mix it in with your epoxy and you just keep loading it in there like micro balloons, loading, loading, loading until it turns into a dough where you can actually just sort of pack it. And what you're doing, you're taking fiberglass and then you're building up a layer of tooling dough, and that's your sandwich core and more fiberglass. So the tooling dough just gives you a sandwich core to build up a thicker mold quicker.
Oh, I see.
So that's what he's talking about.
Yeah,
Can
that
I-
will get job.
Can I
They'll
use
get the
this,
job
Dan?
done.
Can I use this stuff here?
Well, colloidal silica, hey, Doran, isn't that just a thickening agent? Is that
It's Cabosil. It's gonna thicken out the epoxy. Yeah,
yeah,
and
Cabosil?
I use it a lot. Yeah, well, Cabosil, and micro balloons. I use those a lot.
Yeah.
I wonder if you could mix that colloidal silica with dope.
Mm,
I know with dope it was zinc
I
stearate.
don't know about that. So I don't know what the goal is over there, Sparky.
Instead of using
Smart.
talcum powder or that zinc stearate shit, use that stuff in dope as a filler.
Try it out, see what happens. But I wouldn't try it out on, Yep.
Well, I
I
tried
can
it out.
definitely.
I tried it out in resin, and I
Yeah.
guess I had it too dry because it just, I don't know, kind of. I put too much in it, I guess. Needed more
Yeah.
resin.
Yeah, if you want to keep things light, you have to blot out the resin or lay it really light. And in order to lay it really light, I told you a lot of times, you just do it with a roller, with a small paint roller, like a 4-inch or a 2-inch paint roller.
It's gonna be hard to get it inside here.
It's gonna get in there, most of it, except for the corners on the back.
Hey,
Everything
Sparky,
else is gonna be fine.
you go to Sherwin-Williams, they have paint rollers that are rounded for like moldings and
Oh,
cabinets and
that's
stuff.
right. Yeah, that's right. They got them at Harbor Freight too. It's about that big around, but it's in a point.
Yeah. Or they
So
got some, just get the one with a point and then put it in
Yeah,
a drawer, spin it down or something, make it round.
Yeah.
it's
Yeah,
like
I could always cut them and shape them up a little bit, not a whole lot, but Sparky, you can just put PVA, spray the paint, whatever color you want to have, and then put some mix up your epoxy with a little bit of Cabosil to it, and with a roller put a thin layer inside. Then you take your material and lay it inside, and as you put it inside, it's going to stick up nicely against the mold, if it makes any sense. So
I
probably
don't
in
have
your
any problem
application, I
holding.
would use some say 100 grams per square meter unidirectional um, carbon fiber, and put one layer of that on the outside, and then use another layer of 200 grams per square meter bias 40 plus minus 45 degrees on the fuselage. And once you finish that, you get it nice and wet, put some paper towels inside, and with the roller on top of the paper towels, put a lot of pressure on it. So So the paper towel is gonna suck all the excess resin out of it. And then you take it out, put it in a vacuum bag, whatever you want to do. If you want to use a vacuum bag, put it in a vacuum bag and let it cure overnight.
Well,
And next day when you pull the shell out, it's gonna be already painted and good to go.
here's what I'm gonna do with this. I'm gonna pour that silicone rubber in here. I'm gonna paint the fuselage, put 2 layers of that bi-directional, whatever you call that stuff, and put the silicone plug in it, turn it flat on a board I got down here. It's a piece of Lexan on the board, so I get a nice crisp line, and pull it down. I'll put breather cloth on this side, pull it down, and all the resin will suck out of it. And it'll be smooth inside because I got that silicone plug in there.
Why doing smooth inside?
What?
I think you complicate things too much, Spark.
Yeah.
But oh well, do what you want. I told you how to do it.
I told Sparky if he goes with a vacuum bag without the silicone plugs, basically he's got to put pleats in the bag so the bag goes down in that mold.
Yeah.
You got to get some pleats in there. Or heck, Sparky, if you want to cheat, just stick it in a vacuum bag, right? And then stick the silicone mold plug down in there to form the bag. And then go ahead and pull the vacuum. I don't know. They got stretch lawn. They got bagging material that stretches and elongates too, but
I got that.
It's even easier than that. You don't have to do anything. Have a bag that's plenty big, and whatever the plug is, you just gather it like this with the hands, make like a bump, makes like a wave, right? And when you pull the vacuum, it's gonna go down in a hole.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know how to do it. It's just easier to put that silicone plug in there, and it turns out nice inside. It's all even.
We're gonna expect some good videos, Sparky.
Yeah, you'll get them.
Dorn's gonna be watching you now.
There's John Miller. What do you got to say, John?
Sounds like it's a sticky wicket.
Yeah. It's
Well,
messy.
I already had my own fun until now watching Sparky. Like I told him how to do it, and I was watching it like one mess after another mess. I was like, whatever.
Well, the mess ups came from the molds. The mess ups didn't come from molding.
Okay.
Get the molds right.
I hope you get this all figured out before the last control line pilot dies.
Oh yeah. Have you ever tried it? It ain't easy.
Heck, I have enough trouble just trying to build with balsa.
I don't have a milling machine to mill out an aluminum mold and all that, like them tank.
You don't need that.
I know I don't need that. I got this, but I had to figure it out. I never did it before.
Hey, Dorn, you still have access to a milling machine like you did at that one job?
No.
I figured I need probably about 4 or 5 jobs to satisfy everything. I need a composite job, a woodworking job, need a machine shop job, a hobby shop job.
Yeah.
We might be seeing some new products then coming online, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
I guess if I was to make another one right now, I'd have to go into the just make molds the good old fashioned way.
Yeah.
But it'd be a pain in the ass to do alignment on those.
You know, there's a lot to be said with a razor plane and a carving knife and block a tooling board or something. You know, I was talking to a guy where I got some tooling board, and they've got 3D scanners, and they got all this 5-axis milling machines. I said, how accurate are these scanners? He said, well, it's not as easy as you think it is. He said, it's not cut and dried. He said, you can scan a part and the resolution isn't there around holes or certain things that, it gets you really close, but it doesn't actually get you to where you don't have to do anything. So he said they got to go back on the program and, clean up the holes in the tool paths and, so it's a complicated process. It's not cut and
Yes.
dry. So, I'm at like the Perky plug. I carved that out in a day and I had primer on it, I think the same day. This next day I coated it up and sanded it with more primer. So, a couple days I've got something I could start making a mold off of.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's a lot to be said with just carbon,
Yeah, it's super quick. It's super quick. Yeah. The issue that I have with mine being a take apart and making those features repeatable,
Yeah.
that's the tricky part.
Yeah.
To have interchangeable parts, repeatable parts, and things that assemble like
Yeah.
that, that's the tricky part. I mean, you can probably just machine just those features and do the rest by hand, carve
Right.
whatever, and
Right.
you're still okay.
Yeah. I agree
Yeah,
with that.
yeah. But right now, I didn't even glue the spar for the elevator in a plane.
Yeah.
It's just floating in there. But I have the 4 pins on the side that align the elevator. So, and once you tighten up the screws on the spar, it locks it in too.
Right.
So I don't care if it's floating because the 4 pins are stable and are so
Right.
precise in both the elevator uh, position as well as in the fuselage that if you look at the plane, I mean, it's just perfectly aligned. And I
Yeah.
can take it on and off and put them to my heart's desire without a problem. Alignment is there.
Are you gonna fly in this year's Nats?
I
You're
don't
gonna be
have vacation.
Yeah.
I ate a lot of vacation between these 2 trips to actually 3 trips back home.
Yeah. That's a huge trip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know if the Nats are shorter, maybe 3 days, I could make it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you, John? Are you gonna show up at the Nats?
Me?
Yeah.
I doubt it. I'm on such a restricted income. I just don't have any left over to do that kind of stuff anymore. And I miss
Yeah.
it. I miss it. I miss it a lot, but I just can't do it, you know?
So when you get to the Nats, you're looking at thousands of dollars, by the time the week's over, aren't you?
Yep.
You can be a cheapskate like me. Like I used to go there and camp over there on the side. Didn't cost me a
Well,
bunch of anything.
I'm as good a
And then I would
cheapskate.
eat out a couple of times a day, like we talking about, let's say, $50. Being conservative, you get a couple of sandwiches or even a nice meal, and you still don't spend that much. And with about $300, you can do quite well.
Dorn,
I think
I'm as good a cheapskate as anybody. And yeah,
Not like me.
it just, I don't mind. I mean, I went to the Northwest Regionals with a tent that I hadn't sealed, and it rained 3 days there, and I was sleeping in a bathtub of water, because the
Oh,
water was all running into the tank or into the
hey,
tent.
hey, hey,
funny you
John,
say that. Yeah, funny
did
you
you,
say that because I was camping this past weekend and
Yeah.
during the night it started raining, but I didn't have a drop of rain inside.
Well, usually, I mean, a lot of the tents you get today, you don't have to seal, but you used to have to seal the joints, on your camping tents. And so if you
No
didn't
issues.
do that,
Yeah.
they would leak, eventually leak, and the tub on the bottom is pretty well waterproof. So it leaks and fills that tub up. So you're sleeping on the tub, and pretty soon, you got 3, 4, 5 inches of water all around you. So
Hey, John, your air mattress turns into a life raft, right?
there you go.
Actually, that's what I use, a big air mattress, a queen size.
Hey, Jim. Hey, Jim. Jim Hoffman.
Hi. Hi, Dan.
How you doing?
Good, good.
Are you up there with Brent Williams?
No,
I
Brent lives in Las Vegas. I live in the Phoenix area.
Okay. Do you live outside of Phoenix?
Yeah, I live in Chandler. It's a suburb of Phoenix.
I know where that's at.
Oh,
I
come
wish I
visit.
would have known it. I'd have looked you up when I was out there.
Yeah, yeah.
I was
No,
going to
but
say,
John, go ahead.
if you lived around Brent Williams, you tell him to pick up on the horn business. I mean, people are still asking for horns. Hopefully he's cranking them out, right?
he had
I
some nice ones he showed us. I don't know if he's cranking them out or not, but people sure want them.
Yeah, Brent, the last I talked to him, he's selling the blanks, and I have
Okay.
some of his blanks, and they are very nice. I wish someone would do the brazing. I haven't invested into the energy it would take to learn to braze. I've watched some of your stuff, Dan. Uh, I'd be happy to pay someone to braze horns for me.
So, Jim, if you're in the Chandler area, do you have designated circles out there you fly on?
No, I have a city. There's a couple of parks nearby that are beautiful to fly on, and I fly on them occasionally, just as a squatter. I have no one to fly with in the Phoenix area, really. I drive to Tucson about once a week. It's 100 miles each way,
Yeah.
and there's a nice group of guys down there I fly with on a very nice facility.
It's
My
nice to
sister
fly with
lives,
somebody else. I would love to
yeah.
fly with somebody here, but I don't have. I used to go and fly with Sava, the boy I was training, but he's very busy this year doing all kinds of stuff. So
Did he find girls, cars?
what?
Did he find girls in cars?
I guess whatever.
That's usually what happens when young guys are flying. They find girls in cars, and then flying's done.
Hey, Jim.
Yeah.
You said that Brent Williams lives in Las Vegas?
No,
Oh, pardon me, Salt Lake, near Salt Lake.
Oh,
Sorry.
okay. Okay, that's right.
actually up in Ogden.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, it's Ogden, Utah.
Okay.
sorry.
He's got some really nice horns, flap and elevator, but it doesn't have any doesn't have any bell cranks. I need some bell cranks.
You know, I
What bell
use
crank do you need?
I use a lot of bell cranks. The SIG bell crank is excellent if you simply modify it and use a copper. You want the bushing to be about an inch long, and I just use a copper tube and JB weld it in place. And the SIG off the shelf bell crank is mighty good, I think.
Okay. I can get those.
Yeah.
I went and bought a couple of sheets of was it eighth inch and 1/4 inch. What's the name of that stuff?
Phenolic.
Phenolic, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking about doing. And then making the ends where you can put a screw through it to
Right.
capture the end of the lines.
Yeah, let me.
But I'm
I'll
doing
get a
like
bell
Jim's
crank.
talking about. I've been using SIG, but I'd like to find some of those others. Oh no, the barnstormer's on the wall. At least the back end of it is. That's bad. Jim, what's the blue airplane over your left shoulder?
That's a
yeah.
profile Pathfinder electric.
How's it fly for you?
Not bad, not bad. really good for what I use it for. I use it to fly off of unimproved sites, that type of thing. So
Yeah.
fine, it's fine. I flew it yesterday, as a matter of fact.
Hey, Phil, what do you need?
I just need some bell cranks,
What do you need? What kind of bell cranks?
4-inch, just bell cranks. I mean, you know.
Okay. Let me see here.
That's
I
a
have
windy bell
this.
crank.
I have a windy bell crank. You see this
Okay.
one?
Yeah, Wendy's would work. The phenolic would work. Anything will work. I just need to get something.
Sparky
Here's
had a
another
couple
one.
of them out. I've had Rodex.
Here's another one. I don't know if you want to go. This is a Trian bell crank.
Well, those are not. Oh, that'd be neat. Yeah, that's what I'm looking for right there. That kind of crank.
Yeah, and this one has a slit in here, so you
Yeah.
can put a screw through it. And
Yeah,
if you have to take apart, you can take the screw out, take the wires out, and put them back in.
that's what I'm doing. I got a removable wing. It comes off in 2 pieces.
Okay, so there you go. Actually, this windy bell crank is slit too.
Okay, either one of them would work. Either one of them would work. Thank you. Good idea.
How come you
So
didn't get those
Looks
two
like
bell
I'm gonna
cranks I
have to
had sitting
take
on the table, Phil? I
the
had.
what?
How come you didn't get the 2 bell cranks I had sitting on the table?
I
That's
never
Rodex.
saw any bell cranks.
Yep. I had.
Yeah, the Tom Morris bell cranks, $15 a piece.
Yep.
I bought 2 of those.
Well, there
Tom
you go.
Morris, when he was alive, he had them. He was selling them for $27 a piece.
Well, I used to have a bunch of Tom Morris, and they're around here somewhere, but I have misplaced them. There's 4 of them hidden away somewhere.
I
But
would have snapped those up, but I had a couple already in my stash.
yeah,
so if we
Sparky had his stuff set out there on the table the last day I was there. I was
Yeah,
scared to get anywhere near them because I was afraid somebody was going to knock something off, and it was going to fall through the wing on Simply Blue, and it wasn't going to be me.
He's gonna leave stuff sitting out on the table no more.
Do what?
I don't think he's gonna leave too much sitting out on the table when he's not there anymore.
I wouldn't. When I leave, I put my stuff up because there's people with sticky fingers.
Yep.
All right, Phil, I'm gonna put these 4 bell cranks on the side so you can pick whatever you want out of them. And next time we see each other,
I appreciate it, Trayan. I'll try
we'll
to
do
catch
some.
up with you before long. I need to get down there. I know I'll be down there in October for Canton, but I'm hoping to
Okay.
come down before that.
Okay. Yeah. Bring something with you. We can go fly.
Oh, well, you know what I'm going to bring when I come to Canton. I'm going to bring something long and black.
Okay, that will work.
All right, you guys be careful. I'm going to have to go walk the dog. He's decided he wants to go out.
Terrorist.
Terrorist alert.
The terrorist has spoken. He's wanting to go out.
Yeah.
He just jumped up in my lap a minute ago. He's ready to go out. Vicky's got him out on the front porch, letting him go pee, but he's wanting to go for a walk, and she can't walk him. She's so sore she can barely walk herself. Anyway, I tell you what, I didn't think that you could get hurt that bad that easy, but man, that wasn't that easy really. Those belts came. The belts grabbed us, but doggone that airbag deal that's a real stinker. I hadn't been hit.
Better than
I've
nothing.
been hit by linemen that didn't hit any harder than that. I'm telling you, that thing opened. Just really
You probably
smacked.
drive too close to the wheel.
No, with my legs, are you kidding?
Okay. All right.
No, I really didn't get that much. I had to, when I saw it coming, I could not believe I saw what I saw because I couldn't believe anybody was stupid enough. I mean, we were almost by the street and she's trying to get by us and get in the street. There's no way she's going to make it. But I saw the car and I realized we were going to hit. And then when it hit, I mean, it goes by so quick you don't realize what's happening. But I kept thinking, I saw the underneath of that car. And then when I finally got out of the car, of our car, I realized, yeah, I did, because she's on her side over there.
Hmm.
But it was a mess. I mean, it was. I'm really surprised. And the cop said, I can't believe nobody got really bad hurt, because we flat tore up 3 cars,
Wow.
and it was. They said
Oh,
I was doing 32 to 33, and it's a 45 zone, but there was protesters out, and I didn't want to take a chance on hitting somebody. Some idiot step off the curb and hit somebody.
You run
So I
over
was
those
taking
guys.
D. Do what?
Run over those guys.
No, you hit one, it's still somebody's daughter.
No, it don't
I don't
matter.
want to hit none of them.
Stupid to be out in the street.
But I was out in the middle lane as far as I could, and this idiot come across and I hit them, then they're on their side, and I couldn't believe I'd seen the underside of that car, but I did. And then
hey, Phil,
hit that Mercedes, and I mean destroyed that Mercedes.
Phil,
Yeah.
not to change the subject on you, whatever, but I've been dying to ask you this. Did you talk to Barbie about that question I asked about any of his relatives? Because I checked
I
out
did,
further.
and he said he was going to check.
I checked out further. The Barbie that was on the ship I was on was from North Carolina. So
It may be him. It may be him. He said he was going to ask because he wasn't sure. He said he thought he had an uncle that was in the Navy. But
yeah,
come here, Jack.
Hey, you guys want
Come,
to see
Jack,
what
come.
I'm building with a
Come.
6-year-old?
Come.
yeah. There he is.
Take him out for a walk.
He's ready to go.
This is the terrorist, guys. He's a I don't know who saved who. He's my boy, but he is a monster. Anyway, you guys take care. I got to take him for a walk.
All right,
All right.
see ya.
Yeah.
See you Friday, I hope.
Is that as low aspect ratio as it looks?
That's a ring rat.
Oh, okay.
It's a ring rat.
It is low aspect ratio.
Small fat.
It's a ringmaster on steroids.
You gonna put a
It's,
throttle on it?
It's the 250. It's the larger of the 3.
No, it's a ringmaster that's been eating too much ice cream.
Danny, I was gonna say somebody talking about $300 to go to the Nats. I can eat $300 worth of ice cream.
Well, hey,
The
honest to
Nats.
God, Sparky, I bet you between the two of us, we spent over $100 on ice cream.
Yeah. So long story short, this is covered and finished pretty much. The rudder is done too. We have to cover the fuselage, and that's the last thing that's to be done before the final assembly. So
Outstanding.
What are you putting on it for a motor, Ryan?
might just have to look to whatever they recommend for it and figure out something.
Slot
Yeah.
car engine.
I might even use a 2S and make a 2S battery with my lipos for this plane.
Yeah.
It's a fun little one. Anyways, that's
That's
It's
cute.
got about 6 ribs in it.
yes, it does. Actually does. Has 1, 2, 3, 4 in the center, 5, 6, 7 ribs altogether.
7. Oh boy.
Yeah, a whole 7 ribs. Well, it has a nice leading edge because it's all it's sheeted with balsa, and these things fly very good for a trainer and for a fun flyer. They're definitely gonna get the job done.
Looks like fun.
Yeah, we did build it at school where I'm teaching the kids, so
Yeah.
that's a lot of fun. I enjoy that a lot.
Man, these are addictive.
That's the problem with me not coming to the competitions lately because they're all Saturday and Sundays, and obviously I can't leave because I have classes every weekend. But summer is free. I was looking to see if there are any competition this summer somewhere,
There you go.
but not too many. July is basically gnats, right? And June is nothing going on other than Brodeck, I think.
Brodeck, sorry, yeah, it's done.
Well, I would have missed the Nats if it wasn't for Lunky, because I didn't think it was till the 13th or 14th.
Yeah. So, look,
Northwest Regionals is done and over.
Let's see how many are entered for the Nats.
So Dan, it's good to see you. I haven't really seen you to speak of since I lived in Wisconsin.
Yeah, I don't get out much, really. But yeah, I remember seeing you at a few meets, you know.
Yeah, but you were a much younger man then. So was I.
Yeah, if I remember right, yeah.
Yeah.
and the last flights I put, they were back home in Romania on a soccer field. Man, I was burning some flights in that I was like, holy smokes. They were really, really good. And I know when I fly good and I fly shitty. But those were just, I was in monster mode.
That happens sometimes, you know. And I don't know why it happens, but once in a while you get out there and everything just kind of seems to all come together in one
Man,
moment in
I
space and
was
time.
so relaxed.
Yeah.
I was so relaxed and calm, and then just put the plane exactly where you wanted to go.
Maybe it was because you weren't having to speak English, you were speaking Latin, and you felt more comfortable.
No competition, no judges, no nothing, right? So
Yeah, yeah.
it was actually just me and my auntie. I was showing her. I really loved it over there when after the competition when I was teaching the kids how to fly. That was my favorite spot,
Yeah.
favorite time. I put them to fly on revolutions, and and they I just teach them, hey, well, show me how you correct up and down stuff like that, how much you move the hand, like no, that's too much, that's too much, that's too much. So that's about right. So they understand the idea that like how
You don't have to
finesse
give it full up and full down.
exactly go crazy, right? So and then I would put the handle in their hands and they would just release the pressure and let them hold it, right?
Yeah.
And a couple of them I was just sitting down and let them fly. Put 2 minutes on a timer, and but when the plane is very very docile, right? As is around the neutral. Plus, I had another handle with the smaller spacing too.
Yeah.
So I just cool it off. And even with that, like they really enjoyed it. I said I even let them land it.
Well, a good
I just
airplane that's well and trim is easy to fly.
stupid easy to fly. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. It's just, being more performance. It means it's a lot easier to fly. It's
Right.
just like people think that more performance means it's hard to control or anything like that. No, it's easy. Becomes completely opposite.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah,
What's
when it was time to land, I said I was tell them like, hey, don't do anything. When the motor stops, don't do anything. If anything, just put the nose down just a little bit, right? And then as the plane was coming down, I just talked them through. I said, gave a little bit of up and hold. So good. And the plane come more and more and more. Just add a little bit more up and hold. And that's all we did. Just plane was coming down, we kept adding up and hold, up and hold, up and hold, up and hold. Yeah. And the plane would just soften up the descent and just will settle in on its wheels just nicely. Was my favorite type. Yeah, I really love taking kids and teaching them stuff like that. This just too much fun.
You know, when I was in Oshkosh, we flew over 1,000 each year. Maybe, I don't know, 2,000. I don't know what the numbers were. But the kids that would actually fly would go back at the end of the line and keep flying.
Yeah.
You know, you could tell that those kids, okay, they're enjoying this, you know.
1, 2, 3,
So,
5.
and then
How's
some of the
that program going, Dan? Is it still going?
man, I haven't been up there in so long. I mean, it's been ages. I was in contact through email or something with a gentleman up there that's running the thing. It's still going, I guess. I
24.
was thinking about going up there this year. I don't know if my back could spin around
29.
4 hours, you know.
Yeah.
1.
I'd like to go up and do something, obviously, but some of these kids would grab the handle and they'd try to crash it. And
Yeah.
they'd almost do a chin up on your arm while you're trying to hold level. I tell you what, some of the girls had a softer touch and they followed directions better than the boys. I hate to say
Not
that,
surprised.
but yeah, some of these kids that would actually fly trying, it's almost like, yeah, you could have let go of the handle. I mean, technically, I wasn't supposed to. I mean, because every kid's going to want to do it, right? But I could tell pretty close. You know, I released my hand enough to where I was hovering instead of controlling it.
Yeah.
60.
But it was a lot of fun watching the kids have fun.
Yeah.
I forget the guy's is Big Art, not Big Art, but I forget the guy's name. He was a mechanic.
Dan McEntee.
No, it wasn't Dan McEntee. He was a pit guy. He was a big guy. He's sort of grouchy, he's grumpy all the time. But anyway,
Was he in the Circle Masters Club or?
yeah, he was up there somewhere, I think. Art. It wasn't Art Admission. I think it was Art something. I don't know. But anyway.
Yeah, I know who you mean.
But anyway, you start crashing airplanes, boy, he'd get grumpier and grumpier. So he was a mechanic. He'd have to put them back together. I tried to keep him. I told him. I said, I'm going to turn you into the Maytag repairman. Ain't going to be no more crashes out here. So
59 registered members at the Nats entries, and they're not all flying senior and open because I'm on there, but I'm flying N30.
How many's in advance? I might get some paint on this plane over here real quick.
You can't tell the way it is. It just says, you know, adult member.
Hey, I saw Joe Gilbert.
I haven't flown a Nats since I won Vans.
Okay.
That was the last time I flew at a Nats.
That's what happens when you win advanced the Nats, and then now you got to fly expert.
Yeah.
Open, actually. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get to fly with the big bad sharks.
You learn how to be a bottom feeding scum sucker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They feed on me. They're gonna feed on my ass. Gonna chew it pretty good and spit it out after that. Hey, welcome to the party, pal. Enjoy while it lasts.
Well, Gary, you ready to take over?
Sucker.
Yeah.
All right, your host is now going to be Gary Sinclair.
Okay, hey, I'm gonna sign off, guys. I gotta hit the hay. 10 o'clock here on the East Coast.
Yeah.
Well, don't hit it too hard.
Let's
We want you to be able to come back next time.
Same here, guys. I'm gonna go too because I have work tomorrow morning. I'm not like you.
I guess we can end it.
Yeah, I think I'm done too. I missed supper. I got to go in there and get something to eat.
Gary, you can stay on if you like, but if you want, you can end it.
Where are you from? Where are you guys from? I mean, where are you from?
You, Gary?
Yeah, Ohio.
Is anybody close to Georgia here?
I am.
Tom Dixon.
Indianapolis, 8 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Tom Dixon.
Where you at in Georgia?
Yeah. Yeah, I know he's from here. All right, guys. Good night.
Good night.
See you.
Hey, Caffeine, how's it going? Did you fly your plane?
Good night, everybody.
Well,
Night, Sparky.
Good night.
hi.
Did you fly your plane after figuring all that stuff out?
Yeah, I did actually. I did flew it like 2 weeks ago. Yeah, I did some adjustment on the fuel tank height and also the the flap elevator neutral. Uh, I was working on it, and then yeah, it improved my how my plane flies now. But I've been working long hours now, so it's yeah, I have very little time to fly and build. So yeah, it's very slow progress now.
Okay, but did I hear you say you did notice an improvement?
Yeah.
That's
It's
good.
yeah. It now on my CBAC, the inside and the outside is the same. It turns and it tracks the same.
Equal turns, that's good.
Yeah. Yeah, I might have to fly some more to validate what I feel that day. But yeah,
Yeah. Well, the
and
thing
like
is that you're on the right track. 'Cause
yep,
yeah,
yep. Like what I said earlier, yeah, you need to fly more to fully understand what it is written on the Paul Walker trimming charts. So you fly
well,
more, you have confidence, you can follow all the instruction to fly low, and then try to see like this and that, and then yeah, it takes time.
well, where you live, it's kind of hard to
Mm-hmm.
find a flying buddy that
Mm-hmm.
knows, you know,
Yeah.
yeah. So that
Oh,
makes it tough for you.
yeah. One thing I want to share to you is, yeah, we finally found a new flyer. So
Oh,
there's a guy from New Zealand who currently lives in Jakarta in Indonesia, and he just finished building his plane, and then he's about to have his maiden flight, hopefully this weekend. So I've been helping him out for the last couple of months building and so on and so forth. So yeah, hopefully he will enjoy it as well.
has he got any flying history at all? Does he?
Yeah, he flies a lot of remote control glider. He used to fly control line, but it was like 40 years ago. If I remember correctly. So it's going to be
It'll
yeah,
it'll come back real quick.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I just mentioned to him, yeah, you will get dizzy for the first like two flights, but after two flights,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
okay.
Well, I never ever got dizzy. What's funny is the first time you realize that if you go more than 6 laps inverted, you get dizzy.
Yeah.
You start realizing how you've been programming yourself.
Yep.
Hey,
That's
John,
true.
Yeah,
how do you set up the flaps on a Nobler?
I got to punch out.
we'll see you, Jim.
Bye bye.
Okay, see you, Jim.
Good night.
Good
Uh,
night.
well, okay, let's see. You want to start with everything when it's at neutral. Everything is kind of centered.
Uh-huh.
So, ideally, you want your bell crank to be centered inside the wing, centered so you have the same amount of up and down, so you're right centered on the bell crank. And you want the flaps to be right at neutral, and you want the elevator to be right at neutral to start with.
Okay.
Okay, and then it depends on how much does your Nobler weigh.
Well, I don't know. It's an ARC that was given to me. So
Well, weight is, she's got a thin wing, so it's a little, it doesn't have a whole lot of lift, so that about 40 ounces plus or minus is a good weight for it. And a lot of people want to use 1-to-1 flap to elevator ratio. I don't like that myself. I
well,
like,
what does that mean 1-to-1? That you have the same amount of up on the elevator as you do the flaps?
yeah, for instance, if you give it 20 degrees of up elevator, you'll have 20 degrees of down flap too.
Okay. All right.
Okay, that's 1-to-1. And myself, I prefer, and it's my, not everybody subscribes to this, but it's worked for me. And that is I like to have somewhere between 20 to 27, 28 degrees of flap, total flap.
Okay.
And I figure 45 degrees is the maximum I'm going to give. 45 degrees each direction on the bell crank, So that's where I start. That's my maximum throw. So at maximum throw, how you doing, Mike? So at maximum throw, I want to have, like somewhere between 20 and 26, 27 degrees of flap. But I also want about 32 to 34 degrees, somewhere in that area of elevator. And a lot of it is based on, that's your starting. A lot of it's based on the weight. If the plane is heavy and it kind of staggers around a little bit, you set it up with a little more flap. You want to you go by Walker's trim chart. You want to make sure that it's flying level, that it's got equal turns,
Right.
inside and outside turns, things like that. And you get it set up. A Nobler can be a real good flying airplane.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is it a kit built or was it an ARF?
It was an ARF.
Did he?
And well, no, what happened when I got it? It was pliable, and then right when I was getting ready to take off for one of the flights, I didn't have any control, and come to find out that the control rod broke or came apart inside the
Okay.
fuselage. So I installed a new control rod with the adjustable links on it, and I just when I adjust because it's underneath the canopy. So I adjusted it so that the elevator and the flaps match equally whether I go up or down. And I don't know if that's right or wrong.
Oh, that's 1-to-1.
Yeah.
Okay. A lot of people used to fly them that way. But there was a guy in Australia that built a special control system that he could dial out. He could take the flaps from like 45 degrees, at 45 degrees a handle, 45 degrees of flap, all the way to 45 degrees a handle, 0 degrees of flap. Flaps didn't move at all.
Right.
So he had that whole range in there, and he could do the same with the elevator. And he could adjust it. It was easily adjustable.
Yeah.
And I think he came up with that you only need about 7 degrees of flaps unless you got a real heavy airplane.
Yeah.
The heavier it is, the more flap you need because you got to get lift in that turn.
Yeah.
But a plane that weighs what it should, 7 degrees is just fine. Most people will give it, twice that just because they're worried about it,
Yeah.
And as far as elevator, it only needed like 15, 16, something like that, degrees of elevator to fly the pattern and all that. And it was pretty interesting. I wish I could remember. I was in Stunt News, but I don't remember what year. It was quite some time ago.
Yeah.
But so based on that and on my own experiences, I'm not a big fan of 1-to-1 because you put the flaps down like that. First off, now the plane wants to rise because you got more flap area than you got elevator area.
Okay.
So what it does is it pitches the nose down, and the plane rises with its tail sitting high, and your elevator has to overcome that nose pitch down and bring the airplane around. And too much flap can cause it to do some funny things when
Right.
it's doing that. So what you want is just enough flap to overcome the weight that you got, and you want the airplane to just that's hard to explain it. It's
Yeah,
like
I get what you're saying. Yeah.
yeah, it's like it stops and turns and then goes,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I can get windy sometimes. I'm sorry.
Yeah. That's okay.
All right.
I'm just trying to get us. I'm just trying to get the flaps, everything adjusted,
Well, if I was
close
if I was you, I'd take
before I glue the canopy back on. That's the only reason why I was asking.
I would take off almost half of the flap. I wouldn't want to have any more than 20, say 25 degrees of flap.
Okay.
So, and then, and I would want just maybe 3, 4, 5 degrees more elevator than I've got flap.
Okay.
So, and if you got it where you can do it, it's open where you can do it, and you can, move them from one hole to another. Have you got coming from the bell crank? Is it coming to the top hole on the flap horn?
Oh, I'm not sure. I have to go out. I have to look at it again.
Well, that's what you want, is you want it to go that top hole.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Oh,
It
the
gives you
elevator horn or the flap horn?
on the flap horn, you want it to go to the top hole
Okay.
because that's where you get it slows your controls down, because if it's lower than that, it moves faster.
Okay.
If you go higher, it slows it down, but it also gives you more leverage.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, got it.
And then you can come in underneath the flap on the flap horn, underneath the push rod from the belt crank. You come down underneath, depending on how you got it, but it's usually like not a half inch, 3/8 of an inch or quarter of an inch down. That's where you put your your push rod for the elevator. Now, the nice thing about it is, say for instance, your horn stands, let's just say, as an example, say your horn stands 1.5 inches high.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so you to the top hole. So you run to the top hole, and you can figure out what the ratios are. If you turn, we won't go there.
Yeah.
But it's easy to figure the ratios if you want to do that. Now, if you come in, say at 1 inch from the pivot point to where the push rod for the elevator goes, if you go back and you go from 1 inch on the elevator to where the pivot is on the elevator horn, you're going to get whatever turn you get on your flap, you're going to get on the elevator, because that's a 1-to-1 ratio again.
Okay.
So if it's 1 inch and 1 inch back there, it's going to be the same.
Yeah.
If you want it to go a little faster, put 1 inch here and go to 3/4 of an inch at the back. You'll get more elevator than you get flap.
Okay.
Hey,
So,
John,
yes, sir.
are you on Facebook?
Not much. I am on Facebook, but
Oh,
I'm not.
is your picture on there without a beard?
Yeah.
Okay, because I
with a
see
big
it.
fat belly.
Well, I just see a John on there, but you don't have the beard, and I don't know whether it's you or not for sure.
I'm wearing a on that picture on there. I'm wearing a shirt of fishing shirts. It's by Antique Fisherman on the from that shirt.
Okay. Just curious, because that looks like John, but he don't have his beard. So.
No beard, yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. That was a couple of about a year or two before I decided to grow the beard.
Oh, okay.
I figured I couldn't look any more ridiculous than I already did. Today I got a new cup. Let me go get it.
All right.
Cup, like a coffee cup.
Uh-huh.
I gotta show you this.
Hi, Gordon.
This
Hi, how you doing, Gary? I joined you earlier, but the wife's vacuum felt
Hey, how you doing, Gordy?
Yeah.
I just tell him my wife's vacuum quit working, so I had to work on it.
Oh, there you got a vacuum just walked in with you.
Well, yeah, part of it's his fault. It was so plugged, you could not believe it.
Oh, gee.
I got these little mechanical fingers that's on a cable you push and they open up.
Yeah.
I was able to reach down inside the tube and grab it. It came out in two great big, huge pieces of dirt and lint just plugged up solid.
Wow. Well, I went over and had lunch at the senior center, and somebody was cleaning out their place, and they had a bunch of stuff on the table to give it away free. I found a mug that they must have. You see the resemblance?
Like John.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
So what's been going on?
Not a whole lot.
We only 4 people on here.
Well, everybody else left. They stopped the streaming and that, and it's just.
It starts at 6, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was deep into a vacuum cleaner.
Ah. Well. At least you got it. You got it working. You still doing honeydews out in the yard?
Right now, I've got. She got a greenhouse.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and her kids come up, and my old home teacher come over, and they put it together in one day. But it was sitting in boxes under the carport, and we had a snowstorm that blew in there and warped the door. So I pulled the door back off and been wetting it down and putting weights on it, trying to, like we do our wings.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Is it working?
Well, I don't know. It's been on there for about 4 or 5 days now. I go out there and wet it down again and
steam
just
it.
More and more weight.
Steam it.
You're trying to warp a 2x4.
Steam it.
So anyway, it's looking pretty good. I'm afraid when I take all the weight off, it'll spring back.
Yeah. Here's the big question, because I'll ask you before you ask me. You started building on anything?
Well, I loaded up about 30 rounds of ammo today.
So you're flying, but it isn't airplanes. Okay. You got little pieces of lead flying down the range.
Well, they're actually copper.
Are they solid copper?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that's the latest and greatest bullets now. They're not. They're not good for hunting, but they're good for targets.
So let's see. Now I'm expecting to see the Lone Ranger with copper bullets now instead of silver.
Yeah.
Who was that masked man?
Yeah.
Yeah. Looks like we're in trouble, Tonto. What do you mean, Pillowface?
Gordon, did I ever tell you the joke about three guys who are best of friends, did everything together, and sure enough, they got in an accident and they all died together. Well, they went up to heaven and St. Peter was there greeting them, and he said, "We kind of figured you guys all be up here." He says, "You're welcome to heaven." He says, "You're welcome to be here, but he says, you got to understand something. You will notice immediately that heaven is full of ducks. That's because God really loves his ducks. Ducks are his favorite creation. So whatever you do, be careful. Don't step on any of his ducks." Well, they decided, that every week they would meet together and talk about what was happening to them. So the two of the guys are sitting there, and they see that one of them coming down, and he's got handcuffed to him. Handcuffed to him is the ugliest woman you ever saw. And she and he are walking towards where they're sitting down. And the one yells, "What the heck happened to you?" He says, "Oh, I stepped on a duck." Well, next week, the guy with the woman handcuffed to him, and one of the other guy there, he's sitting there, and here comes the third guy, and this guy now is handcuffed to a really, I mean, she's even uglier and meaner than the first one. So what happened to you? He said, "I stepped on a duck." Well, so the next week, the two guys with these women all chained up to them, sitting there, and they see this guy coming, and they look, and he's chained up to somebody, and they look, and said, "Well, that woman's beautiful. Man, look at her. She is probably the best looking woman I have ever seen. She could be a model or movie star, whatever. Hey, Joe, what the heck happened?" She yells out, "I don't know about him, but I stepped on a duck." Oh, come on.
Okay. Must have been one ugly man, huh?
Yeah. Don't step on any ducks.
Well, I wouldn't want to step on a duck. Remember I told you about that cat that we end up
Yeah.
That thing, he'll sit there on your lap and you'll scratch him and rub his head until your arm falls off. And if you quit, he takes his head down and tries to push your hand back up.
And this is a walk-in feral cat, huh?
Yeah, well, apparently it belonged to somebody, but Sandy fed it all winter and part of the summer.
Oh my goodness.
But it's the friendliest cat I've ever owned. Of course, I haven't owned too many of them.
You got to watch out with cats. You don't own them. You're staffed to them.
Yeah, they own you. If they don't like you, they leave.
That's right.
A dog, he just puts up with you.
He hopes to train you.
Yeah.
I heard somewhere that dogs are going through an evolution right now. There's something about one of the it's not a toxin. It's like but one of the chemical reactions in their bodies is changing, and this is pretty serious stuff. It's affecting the center of their brain where they make attachments, and they're getting to where they have bond and are closer to their humans than ever before now.
Well, I think this is the smartest one I ever had.
Yeah. Winston It's got you trained.
Yeah. I had to go out and clean the water filter out by the edge of the sidewalk and the grass. And he followed me out. I told him to lay down. I pulled the filter out, went up to the house, cleaned it all out, and went back, and he hadn't moved. He
Yeah.
sat there right where I told him.
Yeah.
His problem, he thinks he owns the whole street.
Yeah. Well,
But he's good. You know, Bo, if he saw a dog, he went tone deaf. He hit that one German Shepherd 3 different times. The lady quit talking to us.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And Winston, we can tell him just to sit and stay, and he won't go after him.
He's a big dog, that Winston is.
Well, he's not as heavy as Bo. Bo was 100 pounds.
Yeah, Bo was big.
Yeah.
The only sad thing about those golden doodles are it's a great crossbreed. They have a lot of good, but they seem to be short on lifespan.
Well, the first 2 died at 10 years.
Yeah.
And they say most of them lived about 12. But probably all the people food that I feed them.
They say that most dogs will live like up to 20 years.
Yeah, we had one that was 18 or 19, the dog I grew up with.
Yeah.
But Dad finally put him down. He was gone blind, couldn't hear. Then he started bleeding through the nose, and he'd had enough. Took him down and had him put to sleep.
Yeah. Now your little German was Schnauzer.
Oh yeah, he was a wonderful dog.
He was. I'm trying to remember his name.
Joe. Joe,
You can't remember it either, huh?
I guess not.
I remember that trip we took back over to California for that contest. He was just a pup. Remember we stopped at up the top of the pass there, where all those 49ers all died, in the winter.
Yeah.
Donner Pass. That little sucker, he was everywhere.
Oh yeah. Why can't I remember his name?
Same reason I can't.
Turbo.
That's it, Turbo.
Yep.
Yeah, he was a good little dog. The little dog I got, I call him Chulo, which is kind of a Spanish slang word that in polite company, it basically means something like, he's too sexy for a shirt. Yeah. And he knows it. But he's got the body of a pug. So he's that big around, and he's that long, and he's got little short legs, they're like that long, because his parentage is Chihuahua and Pug.
Hey, I don't want to hear any short leg jokes.
Yeah, well, anyway, he's just a neat little dog, but I've had him now for, shucks, I think I got him in 2017, and he was 2 years old then. So
Yeah.
he's what, 10 years old now. And he's slowing down, but he's still in pretty good shape. Since he's got that heavy body and those little short skinny legs, he can't jump. I have to, he wants to get up on the chair with me. I have to reach out and say, now jump, and he can jump about an inch high, and I catch him and pick him up. And
Yeah, I can tell Winston to jump, and he just leaps right straight up in the air.
oh yeah.
I say jump, and boy, up he goes. I think Carl's going to sleep on us there.
Oh no, Carl.
No, he's
No,
all right.
no. I'm just yawning a lot.
Well, I've been doing that all day. I didn't get to bed till 4:30, quarter to 5 this morning.
Why'd you even go to bed?
Well, I went to bed, but then I got back up because I couldn't go to sleep.
Yeah, I did the same thing this morning. I woke up at 3 o'clock this morning. I couldn't go back to bed. So,
I don't have that problem. I can sleep here in a chair and then go right to bed and go back to sleep.
Sometimes I can do that. Sometimes I
yeah.
can't. The other day, I want to take, I laid down, I was tired afternoon, I laid down and I took about a 4-hour nap. And it was like 3 o'clock in the morning before I could finally get to sleep.
Yeah. You know, you were talking about cats a while ago. We got a cat that was a rescue cat, and he is my wife's cat. I mean, this cat follows her every place she goes in the house, basically. Even when my wife goes to the bathroom, they'll sit outside the door, wait for her to come out.
He bonded
But
to her.
but she slept all day today in her bed, and I was kind of napping on and off all day today. And my wife comes in, and I go, "Oh, my cat is a good, or your cat's a good trainer. It's teaching me how to take naps through the day." So
I'll tell you something that Winston does, and I don't know why, but anytime I go in to go to the bathroom, he comes in, steps into the bathtub, and lays down like he's going to be there for a day, you know. Every time he'll follow me into the bathroom.
yeah,
When he was little, he had to jump, and now he just steps in. And he lays down like he's going to take a nap. And sometimes I'll go in there, and he's in there by himself, sleeping. I think it's the cast iron tub probably makes him cool.
Yeah, it's cool.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I got to figure out how to get up to see you guys sometime here in this next month.
Yeah, Bart's going to be here in a couple weeks.
Is he?
Yeah, he'll be here for about 3 weeks.
Is he going to build something while he's here? Or?
Well, he's planning on building a biplane for Bobby Hunt column or
For the
museum.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Is he gonna build Bob's father's biplane?
Well, I can't remember who designed it. It was from the late 40s.
His father had a design, a biplane design from the early 40s, old time legal.
What Jim did? Jim Hunt.
Was his name Jim Hunt?
Yeah.
Yeah, Jim Hunt. He had one. It was in the Pampa, that book that had all the old time stunt designs in it.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was in there. It was supposed to have been able to do the stunts that were being done at that time, you know.
Yeah.
The one I'd like to see him build was the one.
Oh, jeez, come on.
What was his name? Don Hutchinson's. He did that biplane. It looked scaled. And I watched.
He flew that in Clovis.
He flew it.
Bart did a job.
Yeah, he flew it at the VSC. He did the whole stunt pattern with it.
Well, yeah. And Clovis, he did an awesome pattern. I watched him fly it.
Yeah. A Stearman is what it was.
Well, Bart's got a girlfriend, so that took away all the time that he was planning on building. Of course, he never did. So he's planning up here. He wants to paint the twin, get it trimmed, and build the biplane in 3 weeks.
Okay, now is he bringing the girlfriend with him or?
No.
Oh, okay, well, he might have a chance then. Work off all that nervous energy.
Yeah, well, I think.
Well, now that he's got a girlfriend, he won't have any money.
Well, she's probably got more than he has.
Well, actually, just so you know it, Gordy, I'm going on a first date with a gal here in a couple of days.
How are you?
Yeah, she's in her mid to late 50s. 5 foot tall, Gordy. It got to be another short one.
Yeah.
Little blonde haired, blue eyed girl.
See, that's what Bart always wanted. He wanted a 20-year-old, 5'3", 5'2" with blue-eyed blondes.
Well, yeah, I know that's what he always wanted. But.
Hey, John, the first question you need to ask her is, do you like airplanes? Because that'd be a deal breaker, right?
Yeah, well, so far, we're talking with her on the phone. She and I see a lot alike on a lot of areas. She lives in Morgan, Gordy.
What's that?
She lives in Morgan,
Utah.
Well, that's up by me.
I know.
That's where Browning rifle manufacturing is there.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Well.
So where does Gordon live?
I live in Layton. That's
Utah.
About 23 miles north of Salt Lake City.
Okay, all right.
And about 12 miles from Ogden.
Yeah.
So, John, how'd you find her?
It's a funny story.
On the internet?
No. Actually, I had a medical thing come up, and I couldn't pay it all, and so I made arrangements with them to pay, so much a month on it. And she was the one who handled my account, and she would call me every month, and I'd work, give her, so we get to talking and that, and one day she said, John, she said, I look so forward to talking to you. She says, I really enjoy, talking with you. And then we started talking a little more after that. And I told her the other day, I said, I think we need to meet each other. I think we'll get along pretty good. She says, I think we would too. So we're meeting here Thursday night next week or this week.
Now, is she gonna have to put handcuffs on you?
What's that?
Handcuffs, your joke.
Oh, that one. No, I don't know. I don't know what she looks like. Yeah.
She don't know what you look like either.
No, she don't. All I told her, I says, I look a lot like Santa Claus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I wish you luck, John. I think that's neat.
Yeah.
Thank you. I kind of realized at this point in my life that I needed to get into a serious relationship.
And she's 50, you say?
She's about 55, 57, somewhere in there.
57, and you're 80, right? 82. 82. So I can look for one 50 years old then, huh?
Yeah.
So where are you gonna meet, John?
I'm playing with the group at the rodeo here at the county fair, and she's coming down, and she's gonna come to listen to us play, and probably take her to dinner afterwards.
Oh, so she's going to your town.
Yeah, I told her I'd meet. I said I'll meet you halfway. No, I said I don't mind driving down. I'll drive down there. So
Well, cool.
yeah,
Right.
Well, that sounds like a power and control issue right there.
you think so?
No, I'm just teasing you, John.
I hope it works out.
I hope it works out.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
so do I.
You know, uh, my problem is I'm a little bit like Bart. Maybe not as bad, but I do like younger women. You know.
I like younger women too.
Well, yeah, but you gotta be careful of that though, because they can hurt you more ways than one, if you know what I mean.
You got that
Oh, yeah.
right. You are absolutely
Yeah.
right on that.
You know, the only problem with that is you grew up in a different world than she grew up in. You know, when I got my divorce, I was in my 50s and I was dating a gal in her 30s, and it just wasn't working out.
Yeah.
Oh, that was that redhead you're talking about.
No, she was a blonde.
Oh,
Anyway, she called. I just quit calling her, and she called. So you mad at me? She says, no, I just don't think it's going to work.
yeah, yeah.
You know,
Well,
didn't like the same music. You know, we'd go visit some friends. We'd be there 5 minutes. Well, we got to go. We do? Yeah. And it was because she had to have a smoke.
oh,
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I told her, says, next time you just go outside and smoke. I'm not leaving.
Yeah.
well,
Well,
the talks that I've had with her, we share a lot in common, if you understand
There you
what
go.
I'm saying.
yeah.
And even though you know I'm almost 30 years older than her, actually I'm about 27 years older than her. I'm old enough to be her dad, but
Yeah.
The way it seems like the way her life has gone, and that she there's a good chance that there's an awful lot that we have in common. Interesting too, she's got 9 daughters, all
Wow.
daughters, 9 of them.
wow.
She was
Do,
only
do
pregnant.
they have any kids?
She was only pregnant 3 times. She had 3 sets of triplets. Boom,
Oh,
boom.
oh,
So
golly.
do the daughters have any kids?
That I don't know yet.
Because you
I'm
might be
assuming
an
they
instant
do.
grandpa if it works out.
Yeah, I'm assuming they do. Yeah, she does.
So are you ready to be an instant grandpa if it goes that far?
Oh yeah, I don't mind being a grandpa. Why do you think
There you
Why
go.
do you think I play Santa Claus during the season? You know?
Okay. I'm just asking, John.
Yeah, no, I don't mind being grandpa.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Grandpa
that's good.
get tired. You can always send them home.
Exactly.
That's part of it. Yeah.
But you
Okay.
gotta fill them up with sugar before you send them home, though.
Oh yeah, yeah. And let them sleep, you know, so that when they get home, they don't want to go to bed, and they're full of sugar.
Oh yeah.
Well, John, you can have her get on YouTube and watch our program here and see what you look like.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to
Of
see
course,
her.
you're going to see her quickly here. So
I'm going to see her Thursday. So
yes, that's not.
you know, if she finds out the kind of people I'm hanging out with, she might not want to see me. But
Well, Santa Claus, this is what I want for Christmas.
Yeah.
A new car.
Yeah. She you know, I asked her, well, what do you look like? She said, well, I said, because I won't know you when you come, because I don't know what you look like. She said, just look for a short little woman with blonde hair. That'll be me.
Well, she'll probably recognize you before you recognize her, right?
Oh yeah, well, I told her I look like Santa Claus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You remember Sue, of course, Gordon.
Oh yeah, she was nice.
And that's what this Shelley seems like. Her Her name's Shelley, and she seems to be pretty. She still is a nurse. Okay, that was her profession.
That's good.
But she's also like Sue. Sue was an accountant as well, and Shelley isn't. I don't know if she's an accountant, but she works for a company, collecting debt, and she does very good. She just got the sweetest nature on the phone. You don't want to get mad at her because she's just doing her job, and she just does it very well.
Good.
Yeah, and I'm thinking right now, just about anything I want to do, like fly my airplanes, all that, probably just fine with her at this point in time.
Yeah, she might
Just-
help you out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, she could launch them for you.
there you go.
For help him put screws in and stuff that he has
Oh, yeah.
trouble doing.
That's where I have problems doing a fine
Yeah.
little work like that. I tried to mount that. Well, I mounted that Stalker 66 in my ARF there. It took me all day to get those 4 bolts in and get that all in there and secure for all day long. The little, I just don't have the nerves
Right.
or whatever, nerve endings. I cannot do it. It just,
You
it's
get mad.
frustrating. It's frustrating.
Yes, I can relate to that, John.
Yes, I can too, a little bit.
Yeah, I guess it hits us all sooner or later.
You know, mine's not as bad as yours, but compared to what it was 10 years ago, it's pretty bad.
Yeah,
Well,
mine's
you
the
know-
result of all the hard labor I've done over the years, or putting food on the table for the family.
Well, see, mine, I worked as a drywall finisher for 40 years,
Yeah,
but I got electrocuted and
yeah,
it just messed up my hands and my feet and my knees. And Gordon, you remember before I did that, we build in your basement there in your shop,
Yeah.
Pathfinder LEs, and I never had that kind of problem.
I remember sitting on my wing when I was building it. It was overhanging. You bent down to do something. My wing goes up in the air, and I says, John.
Did it break?
No.
Oh,
No,
wow.
it was a well-designed wing.
That was on my VUM.
Yeah, it was a well-designed wing.
Yeah. That was a good flying airplane.
That was one of those airplanes when I first saw it. All there ever was of it was a little 3-view, 3 inches square, and that little 3-view, and it looked really ugly. That canopy they had on it was, I don't know if they really did it that way, but it looked funny. But I think it was you. I was showing that to you, and you said, "Look at the proportions. This is really well laid out." Then we stretched it out to full size and looked at it and wound up doing the drawing out and that. And he built the first one. And that sucker flew like a homesick angel.
Yeah. Bobby Hunt, Whitey flew it, Bart flew it, Bill Warwich flew it. We was there at VFC, and Bobby Hunt was going to fly it, and so I fired it up, and I was going to get the airplane. We look out, and Billy had walked across the field and picked up the handle and motions to him to launch it. What do you want me to do? And I says, launch it. So he flew a nice pattern with it, and Bobby says, what do you think? And he says, you're going to like it.
Yeah, that was Tibor Vele, a Hungarian, designed that.
Yep.
And I talked to Bob Gildini. he had flown with and was gotten real friendly with the Hungarian team at the Worlds when he was there. And he said they were so poor, you know, they were behind the Iron Curtain, you know, and they just had trouble getting. I mean, they practically had, if they had a decent engine, it was because they built it themselves. And
yeah, I heard they would take the engines out and give it to them.
that's what he did. He says the whole team left without their engines.
Yeah.
They just gave them to them. But they were nice people, and that design. It's actually, what is it? VUM 18? Is it, what was it?
Yeah. You know how I got the 3-view on that? I called Klaus Mike, who's in Germany.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, and he says, I can help you out with that. He knew the team from being over there. And so about a week later, it shows up in the mail, and that's how I got the 3-view. So then I plotted the airfoil out, you know, because it had the dimensions on there. And Bill Biles, he'd called and was talking to him, and I went and pulled an airfoil out of my airfoil box, and the Thunderbird airfoil flipped out. And I got looking at it, and I laid it on the plans that I drew up. It was a Thunderbird without cap strips.
Yep.
The airfoil was exactly the same.
Yep. Let's see, Pete Peterson built one too. I don't know what happened to it, but it flew well.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but I think Joe's got it.
Joe
Gilbert.
Joe Gilbert. No. Joe Gilbert's got his Gypsy.
Which one?
Gypsy.
Say it again.
The Gypsy.
No, he didn't. He never did build a Gypsy.
He did. Yes, he did.
No, he did. He built the one he gave Joe was classic, old time legal.
Well, that's what the Gypsy is. And Joe was here and said he got it from Pete.
Yeah, I know, but it wasn't called the Gypsy. Does the Gypsy have flaps on it?
Yeah.
Yeah, the one he gave Joe doesn't have flaps on it.
Well, this one, Joe's flying it now, and he just got it from a year or two ago from Pete. So, you know, Pete was if he got moved to it, he would give away a brand new airplane to somebody.
Yeah, he's giving them all away. He doesn't even own an airplane anymore.
Really?
Yeah.
Boy, that's a shame. I wonder what happened, because he could build and he could paint. He was pretty good.
Yeah, he used to tell everybody I taught him how to paint. If you, when he built his snowboard, he'd come over and want me to paint it. Says no. And I'd take a bunch of small 4-ounce bottles and mix them all together, real ugly color. And I'd spray the whole airplane. I said, now go home and sand it off. He'd come back. Says, I'm ready. I mix up some more and spray it. Yeah. He brought it back. And now you're ready to paint it. And it was, I think it was red with gold. You know, we painted the trim on at my house too.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to think. Mark ended up getting that airplane. When I asked Mark what happened to it, he couldn't remember.
Oh boy.
So, and it was a nice airplane. It was only like 37, 38 ounces.
Yeah. That's a super weight for a Nova.
Yeah. I think they're a little better around 41. You know, they don't bounce around as easy.
Well, that's true.
You know, my Heinz 57 was 38 ounces. So I mixed up some clear and put 3 or 4 more coats of clear on it. I finally got it to 41 ounces. And boy, did it shine.
So your new Heinz, how where are you at with that?
It's still on the paint stand.
Hmm.
I've got 3 of them in my house right now. I got the orange one that I was just telling you about.
Yeah.
Then I got the one on the paint stand. It's been on there probably 5 or 6 years now.
Yeah.
And then Rodney Warts had one built. His was ready to paint. And his wife gave me that one.
Wow.
So I got 3 Heinz 57s. I probably should have given the one to Ray Firkins instead of my Pathfinder LE.
You gave your LE away?
I did. I gave it to Ray Firkins.
Well, Ray's a good guy to give it to, but
Well,
wow.
I sent it down with Roger. He gave it to him after the contest. He says that his wife started bawling when she saw it.
Really?
Yeah, she couldn't believe that I'd give that to him. You know, it had a PA 51 in it.
Yeah.
And he called, wanted to know how long. It'd been about 5 years since I flew it. So he pulled the motor and tank out, got them all flushed out and freed up, put it back together, went out and put 3 flights on it. And he says, I said, what'd you think? He says, awesome.
You know, speaking about the LE, now with RSM being TU, I wonder if I would like to see Brodak kitting that LE, but I don't know whether you could do it or not.
Yeah, well, you know, what gets me is when Eric sent me the first kit and I opened up and saw he didn't use your plans, I was pissed. It's all in one sheet. You know, it's about 7 or 8 feet long. And you got to cut them apart. And all the lines are the same. There's no shaded lines, different colors, or nothing. So to me, he kind of ruined the airplane by redoing the plans.
Yeah, well, he had it in his mind that I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah. And he's the one that didn't know.
But I don't know if there's a way to contact the guy who bought it from Eric, who bought the company, and see if he can get the rights back to.
Well, he's not even doing anything with it.
Pardon?
He's not even doing airplanes anymore.
I know. That's why, if you called him and asked him, hey, I'd like to see this airplane continue being kitted, do you mind if I take the rights back and have somebody kit it, you know?
Yeah, I wish John would have done it.
Well, yeah, I do too, but we know this, at that time it was happening. It was not a good time. John was not, that was during the Brodak Wars. Look at your dog. Look at your dog.
Oh, yeah, I shot him.
Dang, he's dead, huh?
That's what he does. When I go bang, that's what he does. I think he's there now. Uh-oh, my glasses are gone. What did my wife do with my glasses? Oh, I was using them on the vacuum.
Oh.
can't think of his name.
The guy at RSM that bought RSM.
No. Oh, Scott Dinger. He called me last week and he says, "Hey, I'm getting close to finishing up the airplane." He says, "All the parts are made. I got it covered. And all I got to do is assemble it." So he covered his with silk span.
Mm-hmm.
And when he found out that, he made, he made two tongue mufflers for the, what's the engine we like, John?
OS 15.
Huh? No,
Which plane? Which plane was this for?
The Pathfinder.
LE. We like.
No,
I like the Stalker 51.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking. When he built the muffler for my Stalker 51, he bought a 51.
Ah.
So he's putting a Stalker in his also.
He's got a side exhaust on his, right?
Yeah, so do I. It's a profile.
I know. That should be really cool. I myself, though, I'm a big fan of the rear exhaust one. But yeah,
Well,
they both run the same.
You can't do that on a profile.
Oh, you think about? Oh, he's talking about a Pathfinder profile. I thought you were talking about the Pathfinder LE.
No, I tried to correct you.
Okay. Well, you know how it is. So yeah, the Pathfinder 51 on side exhaust on the profile is killer.
Yeah, that's what I got on mine, and he's put one on his.
You flown yours yet?
Oh yeah. Brent put several flights on it, and I flew one flight last year, and it was on that airplane.
How'd it feel?
Well, I'm so far out of condition that it didn't look like much of a pattern that I used to fly.
Right. What did Brent have to say about it?
He liked it. I was going to call him. He lives down by Provo. Paige Peterson.
Paige, yeah.
Yeah. He was out there to hold me up.
Oh my goodness. How far the mighty have fallen.
Yeah. The great short is not so great anymore.
Yeah. The great short one is just the short one now.
It used to be the GSO.
Right, the great short one.
Yeah. I think Del Smith started that.
I think he did. Yeah. We've had a lot of really interesting guys go through the group in our flying time,
Yep.
What was the guy's name that when we were flying down there in Bountiful at the high school there, and he used to go in and fly inside the stadium, the football area where we weren't, and he practiced till he got all his mistakes perfect.
Oh, he's the one. My wife always called him the gorilla.
Dean.
Dean Lampropoulos.
Dean Lampropoulos, yeah. He's a big guy. Yeah.
Well, he wasn't a very good builder.
No. He was running pretty good equipment for the time. He was running those Super Tiger 60s.
Oh, he had the right engine. He let me fly his airplane. Boy, it was horrible.
Well,
there at Woods Cross High at that contest, my two officials, I run out short, and the next time I had an overrun, and I still beat him, and he was pissed off at Jim. Jim was judging. And he says, "I'm the only one that got a pattern points." And how come he can beat me? I mean, going away mad, Jim says, wait a minute. Why don't we talk about this? He says, yeah, let's talk about this. So Jim explained to him and showed him the scores. He says, you got a 27, he got a 35. You got a 22, he got a 38.
Do what?
And he said,
Are you on
time?
Yeah, why? Wait, hang on.
I was just checking on you.
Yeah, those are.
So the time he got through, I didn't need better points.
Right.
You know? And I came home, same night, showered, got dressed, and went back to Salt Lake, and they were still sitting out on the lawn talking.
Oh my goodness. Well, I don't know what happened to him. Last I heard from him, he was living in San Francisco.
Yeah, I heard he went to California.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny. You know, I've been flying combat, and I hadn't been flying any stunt, and then Jim got transferred. And he called Whiteley and says there's nobody in Salt Lake to help me. And he says, well, what's wrong with Gordon Delaney? And he says, oh, he's a combat flyer. He's also a good stunt pilot. So I dug out my Tony, you know, the Warburton.
Yeah.
And we flew several times that week before. I never completed the pattern once. And we got to the contest, and I rolled out my lines, and I'm looking around, and Rawl, how long are your lines? 60 feet. I asked everybody else, how long are your lines? 60 feet. I've been flying it all week on my FAI combat plane lines.
Real short, huh?
Way short. And Rawl had an extra set of lines with him, and he let me borrow it. And it was always hard. You always had to fly it to adjust the handle.
Mm-hmm.
And I just kind of guessed, and I took off, and the handle setting was perfect. And after the first round, I was ahead of everybody, and he made some comments. Well, I guess I'm just going to have to sit behind the judges and see what they see, you know. And I saw him walk over there on the first flight. He went over there on the second flight and was even higher in the first flight.
Well, you know, it's kind of like Norm Whittle. Norm Whittle's a heck of a builder and a heck of a pilot, but he just he couldn't beat you, you know. And I think
I've only beat me by like a point and a half, 2 points.
Yeah.
And he made a comment that I can't beat you in Salt Lake because of the biased judges. And then we went to
nice joust there in Whittier Narrows.
Was it Whittier Narrows or?
Yeah.
Yeah, Whittier Narrows, and I beat him there.
Huh.
Oh, and then we went to Sepulveda, and I flew my big twin, and I beat him by about a point and a half.
Yeah.
And I really wanted to say it don't look like you beat me in there, but I kept my mouth shut.
It was hard, wasn't it? I liked him though. I liked Norm. He was one thing about it, boy. When he would study out a problem and educate himself on it. When it came like the pipes, remember that? He had it all figured out, and had that fellow over there in Salt Lake make them up so those pipes, and they worked real good.
Who was that?
Norm Whittle.
Oh, he didn't come up with the pipes.
No, he didn't come up with it. When he learned about it, he went and studied it, and he designed the pipe for the one he used.
No, he didn't. He cut one apart. The guy that lives out in South Jordan built those pipes. They're real light.
Right.
And he cut it apart and found out he had the baffle in the wrong place.
Okay.
So he moved the baffle and turned it into a pipe. Where the guy had it was mainly like a muffler.
Okay. Well, I know he studied it because he knew how.
Oh yeah, he knew. He was very, very smart.
Yeah.
You know, and he cut that pipe apart. You know, carbon fiber. Moved the baffle, and then put it all back together, and you couldn't even tell it.
Yeah. He What's he doing these days? Is he flying RC or?
Well, I heard he was in the hospital here a month or so ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't know what was going on, but he was flying pattern, RC pattern. You know, he could fly about any event he wanted.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, he'd build Nordic gliders and stunt ships and RC ships and huge RC ships. You know, he's a superb, top of the line builder.
Yes, he was. He is.
So I haven't. Every once in a while, he'd stop the field when we were flying,
Uh-huh.
and I haven't seen him since last year. So I really don't know what's going on.
Well, I hope he's okay.
Yeah. You know, he kind of burned himself there for the Northwest Regionals. You know, he used to come out and fly with us, and then he came back that summer, and he had put on like 900 flights. Well, when he was flying with us, Norm and I would coach each other.
Yeah.
Both our scores went up. Well, he went up there and flew all those flights, and now he's got his mistakes down perfectly.
Yep.
We went up to the Northwest, and I beat him at the Northwest, and he was the year before he beat Paul Walker.
Yeah.
And this year he was like 4th or 5th, somewhere down there, 6th. And Jim and Paul was looking at Norm's score, and he says, Norm's not going to be happy with that. And Jim turned around and said, oh, it looks like he's leaving. He didn't even stick around for his awards or anything. He just loaded up his trailer and off he went.
That's too bad.
Yeah.
That's really too bad because, you know, yeah, the competition's important, but it's not the most important thing that happens at a contest.
Want to bet? Want to
bet? Maybe that's why I seldom won. So I did win the advanced class the last time I flew at the Northwest Regionals.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, first place.
Way to go.
Flying the All-American Eagle. I love that airplane. That's a good flying airplane. Mine is, anyway.
Yeah, I didn't like mine.
Oh, mine just.
I probably needed nose weight or something in mine.
You might have, yeah. I got mine balanced. I balanced. I noticed, you know, that it was. I think it was tightening up in the loops. You know, you do in a loop and it try to get smaller. You know, so you're always having to. I was always having to fly it through there, keep opening it up, and that made you have kind of a jerky loop. And I thought one day, you know, it's trying to tell me something. I've decided what it was trying to tell me was that it was tail heavy. And so I was going around and it was trying to throw that tail out, and that's why I was, you know, trying to tighten up the loop.
Well, that was my problem, but mine was always egg shaped.
Okay. Well, I wound up putting nose weight on there and got it to where it would track around the loop, and I could literally just hold my hand in one, you know, I didn't have to make any change, just hold my hand in that and just walk it around, and when it come to the outside, do the same thing, you know.
Yeah,
so
yours flew a lot better than mine did.
It flew better than I did, you know. Got the highest score I ever got in a stunt contest when I won the Northwest Regionals advanced class. I took out Pat Johnson. He was ahead of me. No, Pat Johnson. What's the guy up there in the Seattle area? He's a pretty decent pilot. No. This guy has a big cruiser. I'm talking about, you know, like a 30 30 or 40 foot power cruiser. And he and his wife, he's married to an Oriental lady. I think she's South Korean. Mike.
Everly?
Yeah.
No, Mike Everly flew expert. Oh, wait. You're talking about classic.
No. Yeah. No. I'm talking about advanced class, but he was flying advanced class that year.
Oh, was he?
Yeah. And he was ahead of me by about, I think, 3 points. And well, I remembered your pep talk. Get down, settle down, think about it, do the, I said, I'm gonna really put the effort in on this flight. And I wound up, I think I did 531 points, which is the highest flight I ever did. And I beat him by about 2 points.
Yeah, you know he flies backwards?
Yeah.
When he gives down, the elevator is up. When he gives up, it's down.
Yeah.
With the
How does he do it?
Well, I've seen a few people do it that way. You know, you see their hand do a reverse swing over, and you see them give down, and you look, and the airplane's going up and over. That's what he's flying backwards.
Yeah.
They probably picked the handle up. Hold on, guys. My daughter's calling.
All right.
Hello.
Yeah, that's the hard thing. You see, if you had to learn how to fly without somebody that really knew what they're doing, a lot of times the guys that see the picture of the guy flying the Ringmaster, and he was flying, I think his hand is like this. That's how he's flying. And so this was up and this is down. So it goes this is up, this is down. And it just gets them reversed right off the bat. And the other ones I used to do that. I'd fly with my hand palm up. And when I was upside down, I had to break that. I had to train myself to fly with my hand straight up and down. Made things a whole lot easier. And I didn't hunt as bad when I was flying inverted by doing that. Because if you don't keep up with the airplane, you're doing this, you're giving it up and down as it's going around. So you're doing this, the plane's going up and down. You say, why is that thing hunting so bad? Well, I don't know whether to say it's time to go or what. I know Gary's been taking a nap. There's caffeine.
Yeah.
Hi, caffeine, you're back.
Yeah, I've been listening to you guys. I just I'm doing my work as well. So yeah.
Oh, okay. What time is it there?
It's 10:23 in the morning, so it's pretty early. Still early.
You're Tuesday morning, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my building progress is also slow, but yeah, I have finished one outboard panel, and then I'm working on the inboard panel right now, and then I will just what do you call it? Just join them together when those two are finished. Yeah, it's I don't know. It's well, I'm giving my cardinal to another flyer here. He flies F2C and F2D, but yeah, I'm offering my cardinal just just use this plane and practice F2B with me. It's yeah, you can use this one, and then yeah, hopefully.
Well, you're going to build yourself an Air Force there,
Yeah. Uh-huh. So I'm trying. Yeah, I have given one plane to another flyer, but this guy, he said he wanted to go. Oh yeah, he wanted to come back to this hobby, but it's been, I don't know. It's been 2 years since I gave it to him, and he hasn't flown it yet. So
You
this
need to
one is
you need to go pick them up and take them out there. That happens a lot. They'll get it and then they're afraid to go fly it. They need
yeah.
to. So, hey, did you ever cut yourself out that Brazilian Pathfinder?
Yeah. I just did the laser cut, but yeah, have I it's still sitting on my box. Just you know, I will finish my stiletto first, the stiletto first, and then I will continue with the Pathfinder.
I think you're going to really like the way it flies.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I've been. Yeah, I know. Pathfinder is really good flyer, especially for uh for people who are still in the early stage of this hobby. Because Martin, the guy who asked you to draw for him, he really likes his Pathfinder. He said his first plane was Pathfinder, and he he didn't crash or anything with that plane when he was learning. So he he really liked it, and he always just built Pathfinder. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a good guy too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, he helped me a lot with with tuning up my Enya engine. So yeah, I talk a lot to him as well.
yeah, like the nice thing about the Brazilian version, it's a little bit smaller.
Yep.
It's easier to carry around in a small car.
Yep.
It,
That's the important thing, because I have very limited space to store as well. So
right,
yeah.
and
So
that
that's why I'm also giving away my cardinal. So I'm
it's too
because
big.
yeah, the stiletto that I'm building is, I think it's 50 inches wingspan. So yeah, it feels smaller, but not that small compared to the
Yeah.
cardinal. But yeah,
Well, you'll find
Mm-hmm.
um, that the Pathfinder will really surprise you.
Yep.
You build
Yep.
it straight, and you
Mm-hmm.
you you get it trimmed out well, and
Mm-hmm.
it not only flies good normally, but
Mm-hmm.
it flies pretty darn decent in the wind.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, I just one modification that I will do is, yeah. I don't think I will. Um, I'm still undecided, but it's whether going to be try dragger, or it's going to
Well,
be.
let me tell you this. It was
Mm-hmm.
designed to be a tricycle gear.
Okay.
It was designed. Now you could make it a tail dragger, but it doesn't really help it. It actually,
Mm-hmm.
in some ways, hurts you.
Yep.
As a trike, it's
Mm-hmm.
easy to take off.
Yep.
You won't tip over and kill the engine in the tall grass.
Mm-hmm.
It's easier to land and
Mm-hmm.
do a good job of landing. And it's designed to have that extra weight up
Mm-hmm.
front. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so
Mm-hmm.
if you're worried about the weight of the third wheel,
Mm-hmm.
uh, you should, because it's designed to have it there.
Yeah.
Um, the nice thing about trikes is the takeoffs and landings. Here's the deal. If you're in competition minded, just as an example, there's 40 points in every maneuver.
Yep.
There's only two maneuvers you have to do. One's
Takeoff and
takeoff, the other's a landing.
landing.
And you do that every flight.
Mm-hmm.
No matter what you do in between those two, you always are doing a takeoff and landing. So that should be made so that you can get the highest possible score. And so that's the part of the concept around the Pathfinder and trike gear. Is it's better handling it on takeoff and landing. For instance, if you put it on as a tail dragger, if you don't know how to set a tail dragger correctly, if you start having problems, you might get, if you're really doing a good job, you might get 28 to 32 points on takeoff.
Okay.
But if you've got to set up a trike, it's easier to get it taken off. It's easier to do it smooth. You learn the basics of what it should look like, and you'll be getting 36, 37, 38, 39, and sometimes even 40 points on the takeoff. Now that's a full 10. That's basically a full 10 points more, but just that one maneuver.
Yeah.
Okay? Now, in all the other maneuvers, how many points do you have to improve to get 10 points? So it's the one that you can get 10 points more with the least amount of work. And the landing is the same setup. If you got a plane that will land smooth, will not hop or bump or tip over and things like that, you could get another 10 points.
Yep.
So that means you got 20 points. It's like getting half an extra maneuver.
Yeah, that's nice. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you're flying, say, a 450 in an intermediate, just by switching to the trike gear or the Pathfinder and learn a few of the little basics about what a takeoff and a landing should look like, you're going to be doing 20 points more. 540 to 560. Well, in many cases, in the beginner intermediate class, you're going to win.
Yeah.
And if it's easier to fly and you learn how to trim and you get up to advanced class, and you still can get that extra 10 or 20 points on takeoff and landing, that puts you up near the top of the heap instead of dragging through the bottom. So, the plane was designed that way for a reason.
Okay.
Okay, and I would suggest that before you change it to a tail dragger, that you build one as a trike.
Okay. All right.
Now here's an interesting thing, though. You can take and change it. You can build it as a trike, and you change it to a tail dragger easily. All you have to do is take the gear off, take the gear from the left-hand side, put it on the right-hand side. Swap it over. And then you might have to bend it forward just a little bit. And put a skid or a wheel on the back, and now it's a tail dragger. So you can, at any time you want, you can try it as a tail dragger. And you'll learn real quickly why it was designed it's not a beginner stunt trainer. It's not even an intermediate. It's a top of the line stunt trainer.
Yep.
And it's designed to get you from intermediate through it into advanced classes. There are even guys that fly them in expert. Okay. But it's mostly intermediate and advanced class you'll find them. So take and use some of what Gordy put into it as far as the design features and try it. And then one day go out there and swap the wheels like I just told you. See how it
Mhm.
flies for you. But you probably have to put nose weight on it because you took the nose weight off the front.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. And yeah. Speaking of, scoring system, I'm curious about how do you classify, the level? I mean, is uh is someone who is competing in, let's say, beginner or intermediate or advanced doing the same pattern, the same schedule, but yeah, their skill. So yeah,
Well,
depend on.
the
Uh-huh.
beginner is not flying the regular schedule.
Okay.
They're flying a beginner schedule.
Okay.
And you move up from beginner
Mm-hmm.
when you can fly the regular schedule.
Okay.
You move from beginner to intermediate. So
Uh-huh.
if you can fly the the complete schedule, you
Mm-hmm.
shouldn't be flying beginner. You should just move up to intermediate.
Mm-hmm.
But some guys like to say, well, I want to win a couple in beginner.
Mm-hmm.
Well, okay, but you're not really proving anything. It's just, because beginner is, I mean, you got guys, they can't even finish the beginner pattern you're flying against.
Mm-hmm.
So, let's be fair about it, I guess is what I'm trying to say. But as soon as you can fly the full schedule, you're flying in intermediate. And you're flying the full schedule and everyone after that. So
Okay.
same schedule in intermediate as in advanced,
Mm-hmm.
as in expert.
Okay.
So the thing is it's basically the score, your averaging score.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
If you're averaging 400 or less,
Mm-hmm.
you should be flying. You should be an intermediate.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
If you're flying, I see some scores guys in intermediate are flying in the low 500s.
Mm-hmm.
They should be flying in advanced class.
Mm-hmm.
Because advanced, you go from the low 400s up
Mm-hmm.
to the low 500s is
Okay.
advanced, and then
Mm-hmm.
expert, you go into expert. For instance, you win a major contest
Mm-hmm.
like the Nats or something like
Mm-hmm.
that. In advanced, you
Mm-hmm.
win it. They kick you up to expert. You're flying expert next year.
But
Okay.
John, there's no appearance points in beginners, right?
No,
So
no,
it's all basically
I
on your skill up the handle.
that's right.
Yeah.
And you're learning how to fly the airplane and how to fly if you can fly all the maneuvers that are on the schedule for beginner,
Mm-hmm.
it's just practice to learn the whole schedule because you're doing pretty much everything that, except for maybe the hourglass and the triangles. I don't know if you're doing triangles on a beginner
And the
schedule.
horizontal 8 too, right?
Yeah, you're doing a horizontal 8.
Well, I was told that you didn't have to in beginners, but maybe that was wrong.
I think the horizontal's there, but I don't think the vertical's there.
No,
I'm
overhead 8.
Overhead 8, you don't do that.
Yeah.
okay. So I'm looking at the product website, and it shows the beginner aerobatics. It's on the list is takeoff, level flight, wing over, normal wing over, inside loops, outside loops from upright entry, outside loops from inverted entry, inside square loops, horizontal eights, and overhead eights, and then landing. So
So
I'm
you
not
are
sure.
doing the overhead 8s, okay. But
Okay.
it's a shortened pattern,
Uh-huh.
and you're learning how to do squares, make the sharp corners. You're
Mm-hmm.
learning how to make the round corners, the rounds, like the 8s and
Mm-hmm.
that. And, when you fly that hourglass, you're making a sharp corner, but you're holding it a little longer. So instead of a 90-degree turn, you're doing like a 110-degree turn.
Okay.
So instead of going straight up like this, you come along, you go this way and back. And over here, overhead, we call it shoulder to shoulder. Turn here, down here, come down, pull it out. So the beginner pattern is a real big help for people when they're starting out. But you really start learning when you begin flying intermediate. But you have to watch out you don't get yourself blinded and say, well, I'm winning intermediate all the time. I don't want to move. Because the whole idea for these skill classes is for you to get good enough to become an expert class flyer. Of course, we jokingly say when you get moved up to expert, you now join the bottom feeding scum suckers. Because you're at the bottom of the heap. You got the best guys in the country you're flying against.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think I better get going.
All right. It's okay, John.
You keep after it, Caffeine. You've made a lot of progress.
Yeah.
You signing off, John?
I'm getting ready to.
Well, we want a full report of your Thursday night's activity by Friday, okay?
Well, it depends on what happens. Now, wait a minute.
Well, I mean, if it turns, well, I don't want TMI stuff.
Oh, okay.
But just a general, whether you have a nice time, do you guys get along? Do you like each other?
I knew what you meant. I was just giving you a bad time.
When can we expect winning invitations? You know, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But I promise you, I won't bring it up until the after party, okay?
Oh, okay. See, no, if I do get wedding invitations, can I have a wedding in your backyard there, Caffeine?
What's that? Sorry, John.
So if I marry this gal, can I have a wedding in your backyard?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll see you guys.
Well,
all right, John.
Yeah.
Take care.
You too.
All right.
You guys take care.
It's been fun.
Yeah.
Good night, Gary.
Good night.
Caffeine.
Good night. Bye-bye.
And Carl.